very close game between these two teams. I'm hoping so. Maybe Redemption can redeem themselves slightly. They've had a bit of a breather, had a bit of a break as the lower bracket did storm ahead. Unusually, the lower bracket stormed ahead of the upper bracket just due to those DCs and issues that we've been facing throughout. So glad to see that those hopefully won't plague us. Let's see if Uwu can start this game and complete this game without a single DC. That's my special challenge to Uwu at the moment. They do still have their sub cubes.
Be able to, with any luck. Who knows at this point? We will be good to Ilios, a map that we've already seen Uwu play on. It was the debut map of this tournament, at least, that we saw being played. But we will be running with Redemption as well, who we haven't seen so far today. But I do recognize the name Arafa for sure.
Yep, Arafa, Fate, Galal. Like this is a team we've definitely seen before. Dominate as well, I believe we've seen. If we've seen Reporter and 60 Smart and Fox before, then I apologize, but we see a lot of players coming through, so it's easy to get people mixed up.
Could be like Report Bot or something. I remember something like that as well. So who knows? People change up their names. We'll gather more information as we go on. But Redemption are a team that are in and around. Have done previous tournaments, but certainly off the bat, you'd say that the advantage must go to Uwu. They've already beaten this team, but also even where their new lineup look quite strong in that regard. Looks like we're going to be seeing much more of a Death Bally composition coming out of Uwu. Lyria been playing a lot more Moira than any other hero. I don't think has actually played much of like the Zenyatta's and all that stuff. Maybe I think Sage has been playing the flex support a little bit more, and Lyria's just been covering on the likes of Mercy, Moira, and Lucio, showing that these high game sense positioning characters could be really good here. But we are straight to this first point on Lighthouse.
Yeah, my eyes at the moment are on Matic. He is very, very pivotal on this hit scan hero. Does have a fire to contest with. The first blood actually going on to Fox, onto the Moira of all things. A little bit unusual to see a first blood going there at the moment. Dominating a lot of trouble as well as Matic just connects with a flashbang, gets himself a double headshot, and that is extremely powerful at the moment. Now Fake Galal in a lot of trouble as he just backs into the McCree. There we go, follow-up shot coming out from this man, and Matic is unstoppable at the moment, just being fed kills by his team. As the enemy retreats, they're running right into him, and he's getting kill after kill. We even see a Reinhardt swapping out now as Dominate brings that one out.
Try and maybe copy the composition just a little bit. Arafa and Nefara should be able to get a decent amount of stuff done though, other than trying to deal with Matic. But again, it's that kill confirming. Puts a lot of pressure onto 60 Smart to try and land those shots as well. So kind of a bit more up in the air. Doesn't really have the same amount of kill confirmation. But Matic has the high noon, actually takes Arafa out of the air, and the coalescence comes out from both sides.
And Deadeye even connects as well with a follow-up kill onto 60 Smart. It's just going all into Uwu Clan's favour at the moment, except for that. Dominate managing to connect with a cheeky charge, but he's in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Actually, he's starting to make his way out, and Arafa still managing to find these kills. He is getting harassed by a Lucio of all things. Sage going aggressively against him, but this Pharah going to be causing problems now that Matic is dead. Still, Shard is there with a pulse bomb on Dominate's back. Will take him out of the fight once and for all, and now Redemption still on that back foot. Cubes trying to just put a little bit of pressure forward. That said, Rocket does connect onto Sage. Will open this fight up a little bit as they do lose a lot of that healing. If they can put the pressure onto that McCree perhaps, then maybe Arafa can find a good position. He does have Barrage in his back pocket, but those shots out of Matic, every time he just pokes his face out, every time Arafa just takes a peek, he's just getting shot over and over and over again. We do see the fire going in, but again he's just found by Matic, who's just waiting for these opportunities. Rez coming in on Dominate as well, like literally right in the middle of the fight. Dominate has Urshad as well, is getting pushed into the back corner, still has that Urshad, but he's not going to be able to touch the floor with the Roadhog parked underneath him. Cubes coming up big for his team. Well, for the team he's subbing in for at the moment as he does scoop up a juicy double kill, and now the point is getting desperate as it's 80% to 0.
Playing much like Tenacity Esports as we saw earlier, just isn't finding any opportunities. It will just shutting the door in Redemption space over and over again. They're building up ultimates fairly quickly, but Matic on the McCree so far has been dominating this match. And Shad now is just able to clear up stuff that's going on now that they're not running a triple tank composition now though. Instantly Arafa goes down once they actually bring out the Justice, but Matic is just going to clear up this fight with a high noon on the point to clear it up, and that's the first point gone 100% to 0.
So Uwu, perhaps feeling a little bit more confident now. It's always going to be a dicey thing going into a game like this when you have a substitute on your team. It's always like, oh, well, he's not familiar with our strats, I'm not familiar with what we run, so it's a little bit scary. But Cubes managing to get a lot of work done on the Roadhog, played a relatively simplistic strat, but played it so well. And this is the thing with Uwu, if you're running the Pharah into Matic's hit scan, that's going to be problematic time and time again. But now we come to Ruins. We even have a Widowmaker being teased. But we saw that, the way that Uwu played this previously, they don't care about the Widowmaker. They're just going to fight you on the point.
They're just going to run this Death Bally strat, maybe rotate around using the little catwalk on the left-hand side of the ruins as they're attacking at least. Whilst Redemption are going to sit back, try and get a pick, and then take the point. Wu-Tang Clan are going to just sit on the point, be really hard to kill from the Widowmaker, and kind of put a lot of pressure on the other 5 of Redemption to try and contest them in that regard. So a lot of pressure goes onto Wraith's shoulders to try and find the picks. It's going to be very, very difficult to.
Yeah, they're just going to play this very sort of close area. They just go around the back streets. Widowmaker not even getting a line of sight on absolutely anything at the moment. She is starting to flank her way around though. Rafa trying to fire off a couple of shots, but there's a lot of tanky targets at the moment as they do play this very defensive positioning. And now the fight is joined. Dominating a lot of trouble though. Does pretty much land on the Winston. Trading with the Winston and the Widowmaker picking up the kill on the Reaper does take him out. But Cube's coming up big on the point. These big tanky targets just going to cause so many issues at the moment as Cubes just continues hunting down these targets. He's looking for these hooks. He has the supports in his sights. Pulls in the Zen, but he's got the Mercy there to support him, but the follow-up shot more than enough to connect there, and Mercy goes for a cheeky res, but Jexal just scoops her up and takes her down.
Jexal on the Reinhardt that went to deal with the Wraither, who actually got a couple of picks, but as you pointed out, just Cubes on his own on the Roadhog was just enough to stall out the point and make sure that the Wraither couldn't get any more real picks. But it's going to be quite aggressive here, trying to find people in this big clump of Wu-Tang that just sat together. But that's very dangerous from Fatega that just kind of glides into them.
No.
Dragonblade does come through and gets the kill automatic, and Illyria as Coalescence in. So this is a good opportunity for Redemption to push through here.
Yeah, though, it looks like they're just going to try and force this one. The Dragonblade does open things up for them, but they still have lost 2 heroes to the enemy team's 2 heroes as well. Shard scooping up another kill onto Dominate there. And now 60 Smart in a lot of trouble, just engages on about 60 hit points. Can't be doing that, son, not with a Roadhog and a Reaper around. And so just gets killed off pretty much instantaneously. You can't deflect the sound waves, and Sage put it in the boop.
All shut down from there's Redemption just aren't finding a good opportunity. They're finding picks. Wraith almost gets up there from Q's, who has his ultimate, along with a good plethora of characters on Wu-Tang. As the Valkyrie comes through on Redemption side, they do get a pick. They need to make this count.
They're just baiting the enemy team onto the point at the moment. Matic brings out the Deadeye,
back at him.
just draws out the defense matrix, does take a lot of damage on that, but we do see Shard with that ultimate ready and waiting. No, 60 Smart is there just to scoop him up, takes out the kill, and now he's back on the point, just dashing through people left, right, and center. It looks like they will be able to flip it, but with 75% probably going to be on the clock, well, 73% on the clock, it's still very much in Uwu Clan's favor.
So they only really need to realistically win one fight comprehensively, then just try and get picks onto Redemption as they're flooding through. But again, this opens up space for a Wraither to just take pot shots, so Wu-Tang needs to be careful positioning wise. They want to push aggressively, but they don't want to give too much line up. Redemption are just going to try and dive in on this, but they do lose 60 Smart almost instantly.
And Hammerdown comes through, manages to connect to Fake Galal. Fake Galal goes down before the Transcendence can pick him back up. Wraither's trying to find shots in, but the fight just isn't happening in places where a Wraither can be a help. So now they're just going to muscle the way onto the point, and now they just have so little left to actually contest this. Shard got to be making his way downtown, moving fast, walking slow, and he has Death Blossom available to him. Diddle-a-doodle-a-doo, doodle-a, but he doesn't even need it. He's just taking the point, no issue.
Haven't
Good
really
lord.
needed to use anything at all. They used the whole hog and the earth shatter and the sound barrier, but that was kind of before the fight went onto the point. Redemption kind of just dived in. They wanted to make sure that they could try and be aggressive on this push, but they just lost people instantly. Fatega went down, 60 Smart went down, but they're going to try and push through here as Matic is lining it up.
Lines him up, knocks him down, takes down 1, takes down 2, no problem. Going on the sneaky flank all the way around the side, brings out the Deadeye. 60 Smart going to try and get something done with this Dragonblade. He's pulled out a load before, but Matic is just there, waiting for him, and now the cleanup crew, well, Matic's just having no problem. The Peacekeeper keeping the peace, and Ilios going decisively to Wu-Tang Clan.
Looked a lot better on Ruins than they did on Lighthouse, but it wasn't enough. Again, this is Wu-Tang just showing how dominant they could be on this game mode, bearing in mind that they did win out against our Grand Finalists Eternal Milcon control as well, although barely, if I remember correctly. So one of those situations where they're very good on this game mode, they have the mechanical skill, of course. Matic needs no introductions with how good he can be, as we're seeing right on the screen now. I can't believe that Rez got through as well from Fatega in that play of the game, but it is, as you say, the first point is very compact, bottleneck, the second point very open and vast, and then we get to a more narrow walkway to push through towards the end of this map, Baldrick's Armor. So it's one of those cases where whichever team is more flexible or finds a composition that manages to transcend or transition between each point flawlessly, then they'll be the one that comes out on top. We're saying that both teams want to be able to change up heroes in good opportunities and not kind of get caught out in staggered situations where they're stuck on something like, say, a Zarya on the second point, but you don't want to change because you have your ultimate ready, that kind of stuff.
So I have an important update. Apparently in chat, OKL has said he's played 2 games of quick play and hasn't crashed. So maybe OKL is alive. Could be making his comeback tour here as he approaches as well. It looks like his team might be approaching the finals. If Redemption can redeem themselves, it'll be huge so far, as it looks like Uwu have their number, have them beat them 2-0 before, and they are setting up to do so again. Looks like on the defense, not playing anything too untoward, though we do see a Lucio sprinting back to point. Nope, he's going back to defend again. Again, nothing too unusual. We do see Matic rocking that Zarya and Shard picking up the hit scan for a little bit of a change, however.
The deciding factor, Uwu just playing triple tanks as they usually do. Matic actually being on the Zarya instead of the DPS character, which is very interesting. Redemption may be running a similar sort of thing. The triple tank with the Junkrat. Junkrat can be quite good here as well, because you're not really defending on high ground in comparison. It's just the choke kind of can work both ways, and if Redemption can play in that style, be interested to see if they can burn through Uwu tank. But a lot of pressure goes onto both Moiras here as well. Whoever gets their ultimate first wants to be the one that takes the steering wheel and changes how this match is going to be played.
Very aggressive first push coming out of Redemption as they do start filtering forward. A lot of charge built up by Matic nice and early as Dominate goes very aggressive, charging right in. Unfortunately, he charged right into a powered up right click there as Matic just keeps on dishing out the damage here, building up nice and quick. The Reinhardt does go down though, Fox scooping up the kill for that one, but I think the rest of his team going to be dropping moments later as Uwu look uncontested on the point. They're probably going to have enough time to reinforce as well, as they do they just go all the way to the spawn, stall out 60 smart as well, and that's going to buy them enough time, I think, to get the reinforcements back in position. Matic doing such a good job maintaining all this charge.
Just opened up the door a little bit too much. Very nice aggressive play to push through and actually burn down the whole of Jexel's shield, but the charge came in and there was no Zarya shield on him to protect him, so he went down. He wasn't trying to pin somebody onto something in particular, so just kind of skimmed across, but that's a big pick onto Sage.
Yeah, manages to get it. Cubes does manage to go sort of get a bit of vengeance. Very fast Graviton Surge, though, does come out. They do see the Coalescences going through it, so they're going to be counteracting each other, and the DPS just flows out from the defending team. Uwu just going to be cleaning up once again using that super fast Graviton Surge. Managed to build it before. I think Arafa has managed to get his Reptile, which is phenomenal speed out of Matic so far. And yeah, it looked good for a moment. Getting a kill on Lucio is no small factor, but Arafa just gets shut down, and the follow-up from Matic is just huge.
Well, actually seeing Matic actually catch up to report her Graviton charge whilst also using one, which goes to show actually is just overtaken him, which shows how much Matic is able to get done. That's a big Earth shot that hits almost everybody as well.
And sights coming up from Shard just to try and clean this one up. It looks like the enemy team will just be rotating around the corner, but this could be a hold all the way to the spawn doors. They're literally playing out past the choke. Ladies and gents, do not do this in your ranked games. Your team will be very frustrated at you. But Uwu just running a clinic so far, and it feels like Redemption can't quite match the pace.
They're trying to build up a Riptire as well, just not really finding the picks. Report her doesn't manage to get one Graviton in the time that Matic got 2, and that's exactly what gets used here.
That said, the kill does come through. Sage going down again to Arafa, and this could be the turnaround that they are needed. Fox brings out the Coalescence. Riptire comes through, manages to get the DMAC on the Diva as well. Reporter's Graviton Surge going to be online in a moment or two as well, and they're going to have a whole hog to pair with it as well if they can get the Roadhog in position. They don't even need it though. Killfeed lights up with red, and they will just roll onto the point. Maybe it was hubris from Uwu as they just crumble here at the very end. Graviton Surge comes through, but follow-up just isn't there from Matic.
53% on another Graviton. He's churning through these ultimates very quickly, but didn't quite have the same impact as Report her for that second one at least. So this does change the sort of way that this game is going to be played. It'd be interesting to see if any teams change up their lineup at all. Arafa 62% on another Riptire. Took an awful long time to actually get one in the first place. So how these ultimates get used? Arafa changing over to the Widowmaker actually. Maybe a much more comfortable pick, but needs to find a good opportunity to push up through. But this requires the tanks to make space, and that's exactly what 60 Smart is going to do on this whole hog Roadhog.
And it looks like a counter-initiate coming out. They bring out the sound barrier on the defense, so they're going to try and just force their way out. Shard going to bring out that visor as well. Graviton Surge being used as well as they just keep this pressure up. They are just not stopping. They want to push it all the way, but they're starting to backfire as the kill feed starts lighting up with red. They might have just overstepped their boundaries. Again, overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, ladies and gentlemen. As well, the payload just keeps on rolling out. Arafa scoops up a bunch of juicy kills with that Widowmaker, and now he's in a really good position to try and hold this choke point door.
It's quite surprising to see the rest of Redemption just sitting on the point. You want to be holding these doors as much as possible, even if you've only got one person on the payload. But this is exactly as you said. Uwu-Tang Clan dedicated a lot to that push. It didn't actually clear out Redemption completely, but this is Uwu-Tang trying to come through. Big hook that comes on from 60 Smart, but another shatter that does come through.
Yep, Jexal manages to scoop up 2. Diva Bomb getting launched up and over as well. Doesn't manage to scoop up anything there, unfortunately. Illyra, though, keeping the team alive, using that Coalescence, is going to just manage to maintain the team's health as the kill feed lights up with Bull, and the defense managed to reset themselves, managed to bring it back with a very, very aggressive push over the high ground, over the bridge, and then coming down and around. Jexal, though, big play for his team with that beautiful Earth Shatter.
Other than that, they didn't really use an awful lot. They used the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier much earlier on in that fight, but no more offensive ultimates. The only real one that they've got to rely on is Shard Strangleblade, who is almost building that up. Rayford changing hero again over to the Reaper now to try and deal with these, but the Sound Barrier does come out of Redemption's side, and they're going to be aggressive and push again.
Yeah, Arafa looking to just get in the face of the enemy team at the moment. It just fires off a couple of shots on to that backline, but a huge boop from Fate Galal, managing to knock Jexal off the map, and that's a huge loss at the moment as they really needed that barrier to keep themselves alive against all this tanky firepower. Cubes going in deep, but Cubes does have actually the bomb as well. There goes the grab, bomb gets dropped, and here comes the Dragon Blade as well, just to sort of try and finalize things. There is a Coalescence being shot through it, but with all this damage flying in, that's not going to be quite enough. 1 minute left on the clock, and Uwu actually still might not have it. There's still a lot of red around the point, but yeah, it looks like Redemption's just going to back away and try and survive and live to fight another day.
Redemption wanted to reset that fight, but they're kind of still in and around the point, trying to stall it out, but 60 seconds, 60 Smart was stalled out for quite a while. Maybe thought that they could win out that fight, but Uwu-Tang just dedicated too much to it. Really good play overall from Uwu to just take that advantage, but they still have ultimates going here as well. And Redemption are just struggling. Arafa changes hero yet again. He's just not being comfortable on any of these hero picks. This is exactly what I mean. You want to find heroes that transition between points very well. And even though Reinhardt Zarya isn't very good on this second point, Uwu-Tang are making this work and are actually doing a tremendous amount on it.
Yeah, they are. Though the pharmacy swap is intelligent, there is no hit scan to counteract this, of course. Sound Barrier being used on the defense at the moment, but they're just playing for time at the moment. Earthshadow does come through, though. Manages to catch one from Jexal as fighting continues on the point. Fake Galal does get the cheeky res off, though. Diva Bombs being launched all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who goes down. Matic dropping down, actually, and Arafa still alive in this fight. It's looking better and better for Redemption at the moment as the payload starts rolling forward at the moment. But here comes the Widowmaker, the respawn from Shard, just firing from that little bit of a window, managing to find himself a double kill there, but 60 Smart on that Genji has been cleaning up, and I think Uwu-Tang Clan going to have a tough time here. It looks like they might be preparing for one final overtime attempt, though, as they do start breaking the way out.
Are so much better here, so they're going to take that game.
They are pushing forward,
but they might not be able to touch it. It's looking a bit sketchy, but they are going to be able to stall it out, and it looks like Redemption haven't got the numbers here.
Oh, the Graviton Surge manages to catch 5, but the follow-up damage just isn't there as Cubes slowly grinds his way forward, managing to scoop up a bunch of kills here, and now it's looking worse and worse for this offense. Just 2 red left on the point, and there's not going to be long for this. Well, the Winston goes down, the Tracer goes down, overtime ticks down, and there we go at the end of second. Ooh, managed to hold.
It's a good push from Redemption, though. It never really looked like the game was in their favor. Maybe it was just Uwu-Tang dedicated too much to some pushes and not having enough for some, but Redemption just looked susceptible to being killed a lot of the time from different attributes to Uwu-Tang, not just ultimates, but other abilities as well. Matic and Jexal were making solid work of the grabs and the earth shatters, and Shard, it was quite easy for them to just sort of clear up stuff as they went along. But Redemption, even when they were pushing the payload, looked bruised and scratched and never really looked at 100%. And that just made it kind of easy for Uwu-Tang to shut down fights where they really needed to do that.
I mean, like, the most distressing statistic to me is that Matic managed to build up 2 Graviton Surges in the time that Arafa, playing Junkrat, a hero historically known for building up ultimates in ludicrous speed, shall we say, didn't manage to get 1. So that's 2 Graviton Surges, some of the slowest ultimates to build.
Just lost that fight.
Before Arafa built...
changed in hero. Started as a Junkrat, then changed to the Reaper, then changed again, and then again to the Pharah in the end, and just went to show that they weren't sure how to really gauge this Uwu-Tang strategy, which ultimately didn't really change that lot. They dedicated to the triple tank. They actually managed to make it work. A lot of that's probably to do with cubes, to be fair, but Matic on Zarya showed that he's got that typical Sinatra effect where he's able to play DPS heroes well, but also has the ability to absolutely burn through people as Zarya on defense, mind you, as well, which shows how aggressive Uwu-Tang wanted to play these attacks. Redemption just looked not quite on the same wavelength and weren't able to compete in that fashion.
And so here we go. So the gate's about to open, and Matic again I think is going to be in a good position. We do see the Pharah and a Junkrat on defense. That's a lot of rocket spam coming through. A Rafer going to be setting up for the tall rocket jump. Pretty much gets it as he goes up and over, fires off a couple of these rockets. Doesn't really connect with anything, unfortunately, except for Matic's barrier, which is going to be danger. We've learned this in the past. You've got to be very, very careful about that as the push does begin. Triple tank on the defense as they do continue to spam things out, but it looks like have managed to make it through the door. Jexal in a lot of trouble, though. Has to be careful with Shard. Going to confirm the kill from above, so Shard going to be raining down from above. Fate Galal has to be a very, very, very careful little mercy on that back line as he's trying to just provide healing to his team, but not before Dominate gets cut down, and it looks like they will just continue pressuring forward. Things going Uwu Clan's way, of course, as their reinforcements going to be coming in even faster than their opponents as Cubes swoops up the DMAC on the Diva, but Shard is just uncontested on the point. Ilira confirms it all with the Coalescence, and it looks like no problem for Uwu Tan Clan as they roll forward.
Through as well. They didn't even build up any ultimates, but they're starting to get them now and want them for this next fight. The main one is actually that Matic is again leading the way in ult charge in front of everyone, supports alike. So actually no, there was a Coalescence used from Illyria to keep people alive in the fight, so excuse me for that, but still, even then, Matic being able to generate an ultimate in the same sort of speed as Moira is pretty amazing. Dominate actually goes out of the fight maybe to reset onto a different tank, it's hard to say, but now we're just seeing Uwu-Tang just poking fights. Dominate actually coming back onto the Reinhardt once the Earth Shatter. Jexal's already 64% on his, and this fight hasn't even really started yet, but the Graviton is almost, well, it's made from Matic. Redemption must be expecting it at some point.
Yeah, and Redemption haven't had a chance to really even start contesting this point yet because they've just been waiting for Dominate to come back on that Reinhardt. Swap coming out a little bit late. Shard takes a bit of a pound in there, but the Graviton Surge does manage to come in. Coalescence being put through it. Barrage comes out, but it gets caught by the Riptire. Rafa getting a beautiful counter as well. Gets himself up a juicy double kill with that one. It looks like the defense will be able to hold here on the choke point. So the Zarya not paying off, and definitely the Barrage having a bit of a tough time.
Ulted at the same time that we saw 60 Smack pulling out the Riptire. So it's very much one of those cases that the Graviton went through at the same time and they were like, well, we just need to try and fight this. It was more of a shutdown of 60 Smack just ulting at the right time. They really forced Uwu-Tang, half them backed off, half of them fully dedicated like the tank's main line. Because of that, Uwu-Tang were just sort of struck down the middle, both by the Riptide but also by a Rafer's bomb. But 60 Smart actually bombed the barrage, but 60 Smart actually getting a double kill onto the supports and another opportunity for Redemption to try and push this. Maybe not necessarily an ult from Report Her there, but really want to push this advantage as much as they possibly can.
Yep, so Diva Bomb does get launched up and over. We'll just push the enemy team back. Maddox still on the Zarya on this map, which is always a little bit of a concern to me. The enemy team does have that Fire Junkrat, so you shouldn't have too much problem building charge. But of course, with the amount of high ground and the amount of positions you can sort of position around here, that offensive Zarya are going to have a little bit of a tough time. People still struggling to also get out of the doorways as Junkrat's just leaving traps for people to trip their way over. It looks like the engagement's going to begin. Valkyrie's coming out on both sides, so it's just going to take the time a little bit. But a Rafer comes in and finds the barrage. Takes Shard down.
Throwing out the flashbang that stops a Rafer from ulting there. Rafer also getting hooked and then whole hugged, which shows what kind of game a Rafer's having so far. Even though I'm fine, he's doing a decent amount of work to stall at this point, he's just still struggling. The Uwu-Tangs are making their life hell, and here comes another Graviton from Matic.
Yep, and the follow-up is there from Cubes. He's just going to start confirming these kills, no problem. Dominate left out a little bit out on his own as well. Turn around, Cubes, just finish him off. There we go, down goes the Reinhardt. We do hear the fire in the hole coming. The Riptide's making its way downtown and is looking for a kill. Might just about get it. No, Shard picks it off. Moira just juking it there with the fade. Now the follow-up from the McCree was there. Arafa a little bit out on his own. Has to, like, not die. It's crucial that they survive because they only have one more fight here if the enemy team just keeps this push going. Jexal has his Earth Shatter, so does Dominate. The Reinhardt's going to be huge, but Dominate takes a huge amount of damage very, very early. Oh, Jexal almost gets knocked off, however. They have to be so careful how they're positioning. He drops the Earth Shatter, gets 3, and that is just what Uwu-Tang Clan needed to make their way into the final, I think, here, as now the swings start coming out from Jexal. Diva Bomb comes in, gets 2. It still might not be enough. Point is still being contested. At the moment, Matic is getting so much damage done. Mercy picking people up left, right, and center as well with those Resis Cubes. Gonna have the whole hog as well just to create even more space if they even needed it. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Uwu-Tang Clan go on for a rematch against Eternal Milk in the finals.
Comprehensive fashion. Redemption, we didn't see the game, but no doubt Redemption seemed to play a lot better here. It looked a little bit more in control in times, but Uwu-Tang again just showing that they're one of the more flexible teams, showing their impact on this. And it's nice to see Moira play the game. This was one of those fights that I was talking about where Redemption kind of dedicated, but it just wasn't enough. and they remain sort of in and out, wishy-washy in those kind of fights. And because of that, Wu-Tang...
First map as well. Again, a lot of strategies available on several of the maps. Of course, you guys are being treated to a lovely set of panoramic shots of the map, but we can see what map we're starting out on. We're spoiled. We know exactly what's coming up, and oh baby, it is going to be Pharmacy Central. It's going to be Gardens to start us off with.
One of the best maps to pair up this sort of decider, but it's also good to be able to see the night market and more specifically Control Center. This is an area where triple tank or quad tank can be really strong. We've just seen what Wu-Tang Clan can do with that composition in particular. But right now it looks like Wu-Tang maybe leaning towards actually not running the pharmacy combo, but in order to shut it down. So be interested to see what exactly Wu-Tang Clan play here. And Eternal Milk, we've seen how flexible they can be. It does look like they will be running this pharmacy combo, especially with Hazard on the Mercy, who has so far been one of the strongest supports we've seen in comparison to maybe Illyria or Sage. Both of them on Wu-Tang Clan have done a tremendous work. But shout out to Kalar as well. He was on the team that has got to the winners final through the sort of winners bracket, so can't be doing a whole lot wrong.
He's been playing a very aggressive Lucio. I mean, this is Uwu Clan's playstyle through and through, right? Matic has always been opting to play that hit scan into Pharmacy. They always just try and counter out the hit scan. Let's open up with Strike, though, as he's going to be looking to get that juicy conk blast. He's just trying to bait out the Diva defense matrix, trying to just wait for an opportunity. He doesn't even fire it. He's just holding it to slow down the enemy team. Getting a lot of good rockets in, though, as Matic having a tough time. And now the dive's connected and managed to find Matic pretty much instantaneously. The counter is there, though. Okismoki going to be connecting, but that is going to open things up for Strike hugely, as he's going to be looking for his targets at the moment. Ilira and Sage currently the target du jour, and they can't quite confirm the kills on it just yet, but they do manage to take Jexel down, and now everyone's just open season for this Pharmacy combo, though they have managed to pull it onto the point where Pharmacy is a little bit weaker. Now the damage is starting to come through from that low ground. Yeah, Okismoki comes in with that Diva mech and shuts down the fire.
Like Eternal Milk had the opportunity there, but throughout their engagement with their dive, Wu-Tang just kind of disassembled it as it came through and managed to get a good amount of picks. I guess that's the advantage of running Moira in this situation, is she can kind of ward off the flankers, kind of scare Striker a little bit away and Sly, especially on the Tracer. But does have the coalescence for this fight here as well. It's just Eternal Milk need to make more use of their time. If they start with a pick, they need to make sure that the time between the first and second pick is a lot quicker than before.
Royal just taking so much damage on the way in there. We do see the barrage coming out of Strike, though, managing to get himself a nice, juicy double kill. Not before Oki can actually retaliate. It just leaves a nice, big, fat bomb there for the Fire to go and deal with. And that might have... No, it was not quite done, unfortunately, as Eternal Milk still have enough people alive to just go and flip that point over. Shard does end up going down. Royal dropping very early in the fight, but can make his way back nice and quickly. Matic coming out with a very, very quick tac visor and managing to get results with it as well. Finds himself a juicy double kill, and now the point is flipping right back to Uwu Clan. They've got to try and hold this on, though, as Hazard taking a huge amount of damage. Matic just hunting people down on that back line. Okismoki is there just for the confirmation. Now striking a lot of trouble, and it looks like Uwu Clan will just bring this back straight away.
Done a good opportunity to stall. It seemed to be dedicated to the cause as well. Royal and Sly jumping on it as well. Maybe trying to get a similar amount of possession on the point, around 33% or so. A third would be a good amount, and that's as much as they managed. Wu-Tang now in control of the fight, building up a decent amount of ultimates as well. Eternal Milk just struggling on this game mode to try and sort of get those picks, and even when they did manage to take the point, there were still traces of Wu-Tang Clan just hiding around the point. They made it very difficult for Eternal Milk to take it in the first place. So they'll be just sort of quite comfortable. It is very much like how London Spitfire do play it. They don't give an inch to the enemy team on control. Well, not on control, they're crap at control. But in other game modes really as well, when they can try and take it, they don't like giving up the points easily. And because of that, it's making it very difficult for Eternal Milk to try and take it.
A beautiful engage, though, coming up from Eternal Milk, just using that Diva Bomb, sending the focus in on Matic and scooping up a whole pile of kills. Sound Barrier had to be used just to stave off that initial assault, but it looks like it's slowly falling into their favor. Dekron now, the cleanup crew on the point, having no issue just shutting people down left, right, and center. And now has Matic in his sights, just going to go all in on him, just deploy the bombs. I said Matic gets the D-Mech, has the support with him as well, does have the tac visor, has brought it out, and it might be just enough to start flipping this one. Winston doing the best he can. There's the barrage, though, from Strike, gives himself one. Okismoki does shut it mostly down, down though. Shard doing such a good job on the Tracer, staying alive, getting so much damage out, and now just hunting down the targets. No problem, just cleaning up Kalot, and now he's just got an enemy Tracer to deal with. Down they go, 97% taken up. Just D.Va managing to get on the point. Bomb stuck there. Decron just DMA'd instantaneously, getting bounced around all over the place by the Winston. Cleaned up, no issue. The stall does begin here, ladies and gentlemen, but it's definitely in Wu-Tang Clan's favor at the moment. Strike just comes in, instantly focused down, instantly burned and killed, and it's just looking better and better for the clan so far as now. Well, Kalor goes down, no issue, and Shard cleaning up for his team.
It's the best ultimate to have in this situation, just to keep everybody alive. They do take the first round, and it is worth adding that Wu-Tang Clan I don't think has dropped a control map at all this tournament, so very much one of their stronger game modes. They always look in control, even when they don't have the point, and Eternal Milk are just struggling to really make an impact. They got some progression on the point, and we won't be going to control center, we're going to the night market. So at least Wu-Tang won't be running the triple tank that you would typically see on this lineup. But Eternal Milk still maybe going to change up their lineup, maybe not play the Pharah combination here. It's not the worst thing to run, but they might need to go against the grain a little bit here and not run something that is typically meta.
Okay then, so one or two bits and pieces as well. Someone asked earlier if we read the chat. Yes, we read the chat, or at least I keep my eye on the chat loosely here and there. And two, yeah, it hurts. London Spitfire, not the best team to look at, unfortunately, for the control setting. It breaks my heart every time. But finding straight away, going right to the point here, as we do see Shard trying to set up, find some kind of angle at the moment. This defensive hold on the point with Strike on that Junkrat is already built up so much charge, 42%, and it's only going to get higher as the Winston does jump in. Manages to catch the Tracer with a conch mine, and that's a lot of damage being disabled as well. Jexel in a bit of trouble as well. He's going to have to back out while Strike just taking up nice and safe position behind the point. Keeps on raining this death out, and he's not even going to need it, ladies and gentlemen, as well. They just have to clean up this Lucio, who's not going to be too long for this well. Looks like Sage just about going to make it out. Yeah, he's just going to bounce his way to salvation. No, he's not. No, he isn't. Sly was just there waiting for him, blocked him off, and gets the damage out. So Dacron can go finish him off.
30 seconds that he managed to get did Strike, so really shows the amount of damage. Oki's Monkey actually changed it over to the Zarya here for a little bit more of a traditional tank lineup. But that's a crazy quick ultimate that isn't even necessary. He just burst through the point and most importantly got the pick onto Shard there. The Riptide does come through, doesn't actually get anybody. Shard takes it down, and the Tap Visor comes out in compensation.
Tap Visor was hunting down Strike, who's actually managed to position himself behind the enemy team at the moment, and actually scoops up Sage, who goes to try and deal with him. Strike's still on like 2 hit points. There we go. Rocket connects from Matic. Matic. Oh no! Please no, Oki. Oki, stay with us. Currently one player down, as well as Cubes rushes over to try and get onto the point as quickly as possible. Bring out the Roadhog to try and help his team, but you can see the bank of ultimates built up on the side of Eternal Milk at the moment. They have so much available to them. Strike does go down a little bit early though, so there is a small window of opportunity, but again, they're just playing it to so many ults. If they can find an angle, any pathway through. Earthshadow does come through, catches 2 crucially, and that's going to be enough just to get all the follow-up kills in the world. They did use a lot of ultimates to get that done, but Royal already has 50% of, well, 72% of the Earthshatter again.
It's true, but it's still one of those cases where they didn't have to. The Graviton would have been enough, you know? But throwing in the D.Va bomb from Decron or Royal's Earthshatter, the fact that Royal has another Earthshatter almost already is pretty amazing, but certainly the D.Va bomb just kind of went around the point, did get a couple of picks, but just wasn't necessary. But we do see Jexel sort of pushing in, acting like he has Earthshatter, but doesn't quite have it yet.
Shard trying to find the angle, manages to get it past Strike as well, gets the bomb in, gets rid of Decron. That's actually a really big kill, as Decron's been pivotal so far. Beautiful Earthshatter on the point as well, just manages to catch 3 and might be buying a little bit of time for his team. But Sage, oh my god, the boops! No, someone put some fences down. This is clearly not OSHA approved, ladies and gents, as so many people go over the edge. Luckily, it seems to benefit Uru at the end of the day. Sage gets the better of it, and they do manage to flip the point, but it's 99% to 10, and that's not great.
Eternal Milk are working on getting another Graviton. Royal has the Earthshatter as well, so they do have a few options to win this fight, both quickly but also after a few engagements as well. That's a big Earthshatter, actually, that goes on through.
Oh. Yep, huge Earthshatter managing to collect enough people just so Strike is... He set up the pins and Strike has just bowled him down again. I'm going to keep making that joke over and over again until everyone's internalized it, because Strike just keeps on striking out, ladies and gents, as he gets kill after kill after kill. We do see he's even bringing out...
What actually happened there is Strike actually used a concussive mine to knock Jexel in the air, and then Royal managed to Earthshatter beneath it. I'm not strictly 100%
That's been happening a number of times.
Sounds about right, because we did see Jexel thrown up into the air, and the Earthshatter came in underneath him, so that might just be what happened. Jixel saying Lamel also, to me,
That's
suggests
been happening
that
a lot.
something quite happened there as well, but who knows. We are going to control center. Matic
Yeah,
is locking in that Zarya, so this no doubt is going to be one interesting hell of a match.
Yeah, like the Jexel launch has been happening a lot. I've been noticing this time and time again. I don't know if it is coordinated, if they are like very intentionally launching the Reinhardt up so Royal can get in under, or if Royal is just seizing those opportunities as they come. But Strike is doing an amazing job on this Junkrat so far. It's been playing phenomenally, and Royal is just always there to capitalize. That said, we are in tank territory, ladies and gents, as the gates open in Control Center.
Looking to see how it goes there as well. Both teams running near enough mirror comps. Basic thing. Obviously Moira's kind of a top pick here, obviously for the tanks and the amount of damage and healing that she can do in a close space. But Cube's actually picking up the first kill, so Wu-Tang are at an advantage. Matic is generating ultimate at the same rate as Sly, both of them doing okay. Nobody's really pulling out on top here, but Wu-Tang will be taking control of the point first at least.
Yeah, that first pick just being such a pivotal factor in these fights, especially when Mercy isn't involved. And now Jexel taking position on the corner. They just have better position to fight from. Maddox built up a huge amount of charge as well. Cubes is actually going on the flank as well. He's hungry. He wants to find one or two more final picks just to confirm the kills here, as they do even throw out the coalescence just to try and finish that one off. Strike bouncing around a bit, but does eventually go down there. Cubes just connecting with a beautiful right click. And there we have it. Uwu managing to take the point for the first fight, and now they're in such a strong position. That's it. Graviton Surge is pretty much even from both sides.
Also for the Riptires as well, both of the Junkrats doing a fair amount of damage. I guess the main cultivated factor why Wu-Tang won out that fight was the coalescence we saw earlier from Ilaria, but we are seeing
was that Eaton? That was Eaton. Yeah, so Graviton comes out, but it was eaten by the D.Va. That said, the Earthshatter is absolutely beautiful. Catches pretty much everybody, and now the D.Va bomb comes out, but Maddox in position on that back line as well. Just putting the left click in, destroying everybody, and Uwu gets that team kill buzzer as well. Graviton Surge, unfortunately, not connecting, but they didn't even need it to. Jexal, beautiful Earthshatter.
Sort of pushing through. Matic is now just trying to hold this door with the rest of Uwu Tang clan. Jexel doesn't have an Earthshatter, is working for it. 10-play killstreak so far from Matic as well. Cube's building up the whole hog slowly. They don't have a D.Va on their side. Eternal Milk have their Graviton. They may want to bait it out a little bit, but again, Uwu Tang clan are just sort of pushing back Eternal Milk all the way to their spawns, generating ultimates at such a fast rate as well. It doesn't matter that Eternal Milk are unable to use theirs, because Uwu Tang clan will just keep using theirs.
Cube's coming up big time and time again. Keeps getting these picks, keeps finding these angles, keeps getting these hooks. We do see Strike bringing out the Riptide, but this is always a little bit awkward. Graviton Surge is coming out. It does manage to catch two. Gonna get rid of Sage at the very least. The Coalescence gonna keep people alive during this, however. Royal starting to push his way forward. Has Earthshatter available. He's just gonna try and get it past Jexel, but Shard gonna have something to say about that as he gets himself a fat triple kill there with the Riptire, and that's gonna be probably enough here for Uwu to manage to hold on this point as well. Down goes absolutely everyone. Dacron dropping on that D. We see the Moira Hazard waiting for the moment to strike. Gets onto the point. Got to try and stay alive. But unfortunately, Shard is there waiting. Gets the shots in. And now as the reinforcements just desperately go on the point. Oh no, right into a trap as well. Royal in a lot of trouble. Does get cleaned up there by Cubes. Now it's just the poor Lucio stalling for as best as he can. But Kylor, not going to be too long for this one. No, he's managing it. There we go. There's the kills that we were waiting for. Shard just going to start decimating people, and Magic on such high charge as well, and just has to hold left mouse button on targets at this point, and it will be done like dinner. Tracer gonna stall, but there's the Coalescence. They're gonna probably get one or two more people on this point, but I think it's safe to say, unless a miracle happens, Uwu have taken map number 1.
So there was a bit of a weird moment where Matic actually got a Graviton stuck on the door, so it didn't really amount to much, but they still managed to sort of win out the fight. Most importantly to Shard's Riptide that actually got a triple kill, as you pointed out. Royal actually just get played again. It'd be interesting to see whether this is what we were talking about. It isn't going to be quite that, but this is where we saw an over-dedication of ultimates on the Eternal Milk side. Didn't really amount to much because they still managed to keep and hold the point, but they couldn't really replicate the same kind of fashion on Control Center.
Yeah, I mean, when we were watching these guys earlier, it was no great shock to see these guys get to the finals. When you were watching these guys face up against each other, it was just like, yeah, these guys, this is a match that should be in the finals. This is one of those matches that you can definitely see these guys going all the distance. So it didn't surprise me at all to see these guys go this far and, well, continue to play a really, really close game against one another, and hoping to see that fashion continue into the coming maps. Looks like teams are about ready to choose what they're going to be running. It looks like a very sensible team comp on both sides for a rare treat. So I suspect these teams actually won't be changing too much. It looks like Matic might be answering my prayers and might actually be playing that Widowmaker.
It would make sense. You can imagine that being the most obvious choice that they could really run with here. Eternal Milk may be expecting that. Sly's going to be on the Soldier, just sort of sitting on in the backline, making use of the high ground. Nice to see that sort of work. But a lot of emphasis maybe goes on to Strike, be one of the main culprits to try and take out Matic in the fight. And because of that, he's going to sit quite close, but he doesn't want to repeat what happened to, I believe it was Hazard on the Moira before, and Dorado instantly get taken out of the fight by Matic. We'll see how this kind of goes. It really depends on what Wu Tang Clan could do within the first 30 seconds of this fight, which will dictate how the rest of this round does go, I feel.
5, 4.
Alright, so Matic might actually be going out through main with the rest of his team. Just going to be taking a quick peek and seeing what he can find there before launching himself out. Tracer instantly finding the enemy Genji though. Strike forced onto the back foot right away. And Matic actually going straight for the bridge as well. He's going to be trying to contest for that as best as he can. So far, a little bit bloodless so far, but there we go. A headshot straight onto the Diva with that damage amp, almost shredding her straight away. As it looks like the payload will continue to roll on forward. Meanwhile, the defense just still holding this high ground position, still letting that payload slide a little bit forward, but seem slightly inactive so far.
Yeah, they're starting to back off a little bit now, push back to the server room, whilst Matic starts to take up some ground. It's getting some shots in, but nothing meaningful. So now it's just Eternal stalling this for as long as possible, making sure that they can keep control of this area. They don't necessarily need picks, they just want to stop the payload from moving, making sure that Wu Tang Clan can't get any picks on them either.
And so this is where the map really begins, and there is the kill opportunity. Strike just goes in and finds it with a beautiful headshot and then follow-up kill onto that Widowmaker, and now the pressure is starting to mount as they just start going up and over, playing a more dive and aggressive style at the moment, putting a lot of pressure on Cubes at the moment as they want to isolate out the sub for the team. Do manage to clean him up there. Not all the healing in the world with that Mercy and Mora, still not going to be enough to keep him in his mech, and if they leave him D-mech, that's a huge advantage. Matic pops up and instantly on the back foot, support's coming out, and here comes a Dragon Blade just to try and confirm it as well. Gets himself one, and that's a big kill onto Matic at the moment. Has Cubes in his sights by the looks of things as well. That poor baby Diva on the back foot has to retreat, but Strike no gets picked off, and there we go. Looks like Matic also getting rezzed as well as the payload, well, still not being contested for at the moment, but they will be able to make their way towards it. There we go, start pushing it forward. Matic brings up the infra site and now is going to take position on that high ground.
Attack visor ready, may skulk up to the high ground to take an opportunity, but is going to engage with the rest of his team. Maybe, excuse me, all go to the high ground. Try to push from there. Find that opportunity.
And there we go. There comes the tactical advisor. Matic trying to get a couple of shots onto him. Diva Bomb being used to clear a little bit of space, as well as pressure continuing to mount onto Sly. He's just been forced on the back foot by Cubes. So Cubes managed to occupy enough attention there for a moment or two. And now the Winston just taking his turn. Got a Primal Rage even just to push Sly back and pin that Mercy as well. Just cause so many issues. She does manage to get out, but Matic still uncontested on that back line. There's the Primal Rage onto Matic. He's being knocked all over the place now and in a lot of trouble as Royal hunting down the targets in the back line. Illyra just there for the confirm onto Hazard, and now Matic in a lot of trouble, forcing the back foot, and he's being followed around by a very angry Gorilla who's just going to bounce all over the place. Infrasight not going to really help you too much there, but meanwhile on the point it's still not really going in Eternal Milk's favour. They're still getting surrounded and focused down here. Shard getting a lot of work done, but now the kill feed starting to light up with blue as they do start cleaning up these targets on the point. Dacron, I think, demeched himself there with his own rocket, so that's a bit of an oopsie, but there we go. It looks like they will hold that a little bit longer, but being with a baby Diva at the moment, there's a big opening now.
Eternal Milk have done a really good job of stalling onto this point, even with the amount of pressure that we're seeing Wu Tang Clan put on to the rest of Eternal. But the main point of contact here is that Matic has switched over to Genji. He's going to probably build up a Dragon Blade with the rate that he's been able to do it for this fight, but Eternal Milk just want to shut this down as soon as possible. Strike also has his blade, as that does go down, and now it's just trying to find an opportunity for Eternal to try and hold on for as long as possible, but it does look like it's going to his favour.
Striking a lot of trouble there. He has the he had the Dragon Blade available to him, but just didn't go for it. Got focused down a little bit out too in the open, too much out in the open, and Matic just went, hunted him down, got the shot and the kills in there. Matic just tearing people apart on this Genji so far. This man's hero pool definitely paying dividends for this team at the moment as he just continues to clean up here on the point. We do see Strike actually comes back out, brings up the Dragon Blade, but it might be too little too late at the moment. He's just being focused down by Tank. Shard scoops up the killing blow there as the stall does desperately continue here on this point. Dacron gets demeched. The Lucio even coming out once again, but this is just feeding ultimates into the Wu-Tang clan at the moment, as I don't see them flipping this one back over. And there we go. They will manage to confirm this one, and Respawn's now not really in their favor as they start hunting down the poor
they're
stragglers.
pushing on through, going to take as much of the space as they possibly can, stagger Eternal for as long as possible. One of the main win conditions and one of the main priorities you want to be doing. Hazard goes down, so this is a perfect opportunity for Wu-Tang to just keep pushing this, taking all of this space, and this payload is going to remain uncontested for a good amount of time, whilst Eternal struggle to regroup and struggle to gain ultimates at the same rate that Wu-Tang are.
And so then, very, very aggressive hold at the moment, and they've got almost halfway through the hangar already as Matic just sets up on that high ground, does have the Dragon Blade. It will get forced out though by the damage out, and Winston is in a lot of trouble, gets focused down by just Royal and Mercy, so a little bit of an oversight there, just leaving Genji a little bit too out on his own. He was just a little bit too out of position, gets focused down and killed off, no problem. And now Shard in a lot of trouble as well as the re-engage does begin. Sound barrier is being used just to confirm this fight out. Shard in a lot of trouble, gets focused down. Royal on a tear at the moment on this Winston, and has just been uncontested so far.
Managed to push Wu-Tang right out of the hangers, so they're just going to sit back a little bit, try and regroup to the best of their abilities. They do have a Dragon Blade and a few more ultimates. Both support ultimates are up as well. Shard on the Tracer doesn't really need too much of an opening here, but it is going to be tricky to make her work on this point. Sly also having a pulse bomb ready for this fight, no doubt will be important to shutting down Wu-Tang as their pressure is starting to amount as they push.
He's got the pulse bomb. He's looking for it. He just puts it on the Moira, who's coalescing. She can't fade out of that one. And so down she goes. Meanwhile, Matic going onto the front line. Balls out the Dragon Blade, but he's just found Strike so far. He just managed to bounce himself away. Gets the kill even with the Shurikens. And now has a Dragon Blade of his own that he might be looking for at the moment, especially as that sound barrier comes out from Sage. And now this is wide open for Strike to maybe get something done. Cube's in a lot of trouble at the moment as well. Does get demeched, and now it's all just falling into Eternal Milk's favor. So far, so good as the kill feed just continues to light up in their colors. It looks like they will continue to do so. Shard managing to get a single kill there. Strike still holding on to this Dragon Blade, lad. It's not over yet, and he's just going to bide his time. There's a lot of targets available. There we go. He's had enough, and he wants to put an end to this fight. But Matic gets a juicy rocket onto him, brings down a lot of hit points, but he's still struggling to get confirmed kills. And Sage, staying alive at the moment, is forced to back away, forced onto the back foot, and it looks like Eternal Milk will continue this hold.
Actually, sort of stall out here. Wu-Tang actually coming back into the fight and stalling quicker, but that's a big bomb that actually just hits the top of the hangar from Decron. NAL a little bit there, but they're still managing to get onto the point of solace. This has been a long fight from both sides, both having losses and both getting picks, but ultimately it's going to come down with ultimate, so that's a big one from Eternal Milk to actually get the sound barrier in, despite it's still looking scrappy, but there's no big ultimates on ready to get these eliminations, which is what both sides need.
Dive goes extremely deep, hunting for Matic at the moment. Meanwhile, Shard getting a lot of work done, trying to get rid of that Mercy. Pulse Bomb just clips her, but she's still alive on top of those boxes. He can't quite find the angle just to get rid of Hazard at the moment. He's just getting knocked all over the place, still looking for that Mercy. He's still staying alive. Soundbar here again coming out as well from Sage this time, just to keep his team alive and keep this fight going. Here comes the Dragon Blade from Strike though. Strike, can you do it this time, lad? You're getting enough damage on that Lucio to bring him down. You got a good slash down onto the Moira, but the follow-up kills just aren't quite there yet, and this could be anyone's fight so far at the moment. Shard still getting a huge amount of work done on this Tracer, but Strike just still alive, can't quite find the targets, can't quite get through these tanks. The Winston Primal rating to survive that a little bit longer. Matic, I think, coming in there, yes, with the tactical visor, but Strike was just waiting for him, and he manages to kill himself on his own. Rocket, unfortunately, going right into Strike's body. Strike picks up the healing at the moment, and now respawns definitely in Eternal Milk's favor as they start coming back. They need to clean up these tanks, need to get rid of them once and for all. Can they do it is the big question, as reinforcements now coming in for Uwu. This is anyone's fight still at this moment. This is the second sound barrier now coming out for the defense. Eternal Milk just keeping it going, but Strike managing to confirm that into a kill into the Moira. There's a lot of healing gone at the moment. Sly getting rid of cubes as well. That's more tanking dropping from moment to moment. If Matic goes down, that's even more DPS dropping. Now they just need to finish this up on the point, clean their plate, and they might have just done it. Please finish this off to save my voice as Eternal Milk, yes, will hold, I think, in this hangar.
One of the longest fights I feel that we've seen. It lasted even before the overtime that lasted for a good portion of time. It was going on, what, a minute and a half before the timer ran out and the wick started to burn. Very good hold from Eternal Milk there. The payload did shift a little bit in Wu-Tang's favour, but of course that means that spawns is going to be a lot better for Eternal Milk, who just have to really come from the high ground and drop down, whereas Wu-Tang have to kind of slalom through the point and try and decide where they're going to come from. That said, it's not too difficult or it's not too impossible for Wu-Tang to really take more of like a full hold here if they possibly can. But they're going to try and decide what they can possibly do. go from here. Eternal Milk, very strong hold there. Some really solid ultimates, but Strike and Sly both struggled to really get those eliminations. That fight could have been ended a lot sooner, and Uatang never really had an opportunity to reset and re-engage before overtime started, and by that point it was too late. They had to stay on the point and they had to keep contesting. And because of that, they never really looked comfortable to be able to actually take the point for a while.
Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, the golden parking space of joy just a little bit in the hangar, and like it was a really good first point defense. They managed to keep it going for a long time, managed to stall it for a long time, but it never really felt secure, is what I'd say. Like, that was my big issue, is the defense always felt like they were just sort of hanging on by a thread, and then they'd occasionally swing back, but it was just like a constant fight, long fights, long stalls, and they weren't able to quite clean up their play.
With that final fight, the reason why it lasted so long is because Eternal weren't very good at kill confirming. They weren't able to actually shut out a lot of the fights and left opportunities for Uatang Clan to keep on pulling through. I think the biggest shout has to go to Hazard on the Mercy. They managed to res 2 people in amongst that fight in very, dangerous positions and actually managed to make it work. But Uatang just weren't able to sort of finish that off. Uatang are going to be playing much more of a traditional Matic on the Soldier as you would do in defense. Sly may be running the Widowmaker. We didn't really see much from Matic, and we know Matic is a pretty decent Widowmaker, but really struggled to make anything work on this point. So Uatang Clan need to try and mimic what Eternal did on this defense, and may just have the ability to full close a lot of these fights and actually push this fight to a full hold on this first point.
Strike's going for it. He's going for the chips to roll out. He's brought the Doomfist. He's going to be looking to sort of bounce himself around the corner and then try and dive on someone. So he's going to set up on this box. He's even being very patient with it. He's just waiting a moment or two before he's going to go in. Hopefully, like, bait the enemy team out onto that high ground where they normally defend from. Someone's already died during this time over as he does go in for it. Goes for the uppercut. Unfortunately, the uppercut's a diva, so instantly bounced back out. And that is about as effective as Doomfist could probably hope to be on this map as he punches over the Genji. Unfortunately, doesn't connect with him. But still, Sly gets himself a nice big juicy kill there. Bagging the Winston. Harambe, no! As, yeah, Sly's just going to keep this momentum rolling for his team, especially with that Doomfist. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him just to confirm these kills on these long-range targets.
One that wants to fight from long distance, one that wants to fight up close and personal. So Strike and Sly, which is amazing DPS duo name anyway, is still managing to make this point move, and they're still managing to get picks. Sage actually goes down from Strike as well, which is completely dominated what they're doing. This point looks to be taken fairly quickly from Eternal Milk side if they could just clear up the tanks from Uatang that's still here.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of damage as well. Strike's actually managing to connect now with a lot of these shots. Managed to find the poor Anna out on her own and just confirmed it with the uppercut. No problem there. And he's just having a whale of a time. Just even though he's getting focused down quite a lot, he's hitting enough targets where he's getting that regenerating barrier. And now with the infra sight, yeah, it looks like Uwu will not actually be trying to contest this one. He has the ultimate available to him as well. Looks like he's just going to threaten hunting down some of the backline as well. Can't quite get to the high ground, unfortunately, but this is definitely one of the strongest Doomfists that we've seen in terms of performances.
Well, it's one of the only Doomfists that we've seen perform at Scrim Central, at least for this tournament. We haven't seen much of him, but showing that there's a good amount of work in these situations where they do have an advantage. Just bringing out a little bit of a curveball, a little bit more of a difficult hero to really run into is going to be enough. But this is a dangerous situation. Shard actually pulling out the Dragon Blade, getting a kill onto Hazard. Strike gets struck down, and Sly's just sitting in the background on the Widowmaker. Is going to try and disengage, but Uatang actually making that work in their favour, being very aggressive on the defense. 4.5 minutes to hold here though, but they might have a good opportunity now that main door is closed on this attack.
Yeah, like really, really clean engage as well. Just use the Diva Bomb to cover it. Shard draws Dragon Blade, and they just followed up with a whole pile of kills. And now they're trying to set up on the high ground once more. Sly looking for some kind of angle. But meanwhile, Shard having a lot to say about it, is he's just been making himself a nuisance here on that Genji. We still see the Doomfist here though. Strike though gets killed by the Anna. Slightly embarrassing. A bit of an oopsie. A sound barrier is used by the Uwu clan just to try and keep this fight going as much as possible. Attack Visor coming out from Matic as well with the nano boost on top of it. He has Winston in the sights at the moment, but it is getting very, very sort of focused down, isolated out. Mercy even making it out alive. But the kill feed has enough red in it. Oh, Sly managing to get one, but I think it's too little too late as they are on the back foot at the moment.
They've just been very patient and try to hold out here. Everybody on Uatang is just resetting, may try and take the high ground, but it looks like they're going to be sat back. This is a good opportunity for Eternal Milk, not only to sort of see where everybody is, but also to see that the high ground to an extent is rather exposed and they can try and take control of it. And Sly's going to actually jump onto the top of the hangar to try and survive Cubes actually going in for the chase. And we saw this before as well on Dorado. Cubes chasing Sly on the Widowmaker means that other players can actually get some stuff done with D.Va's back turn facing another character.
Sly just a little bit too close to the edge of the shuttle there, does manage to go down. Doomfist having a bit of a rough time there. Unfortunately, I don't think it was called on stream, but he just basically jumped in and died instantaneously, which kind of sums up Doomfist. No surprise to see Strike swapping off that one. Despite having the ultimate, Doomfist ult not really worth holding on to in my mind. You could probably swap off a while earlier. And that's actually burnt a lot of time at the moment. They have managed to get Matic off the high ground at the very least. Dacron getting a lot of work done there and managing just to deny that resource for the enemy team as they do start this engagement in full force at the moment, bringing out that Valkyrie as they want to get something done, but Maddox going to have something to say about that at the moment as they use the sound barrier just to secure him, make sure he's alive while he's just shelling out all this damage. Has the Lucio in his sights. There we go, gets a beautiful turn, gets a rocket onto that Lucio, takes down Kylor, and it's looking good at the moment for the Uwu Tang clan, sorry, as they will continue to hold.
A really good job in this D.Va to actually shut down a lot of what Sly wants to do. Royal actually picking up a double pick in the backline, and this is where we're going to see Eternal start to push a little bit more forward. But because of their lineup, it's a little bit slow. Like, we're seeing Sly actually moving on to the payload now. This is their biggest opportunity to take it, and Cubes is actually going to actually bomb onto the point. Sly almost pulls himself straight into the line of sight of it and almost dies, but luckily he's far enough away that it doesn't really matter. They did a really good job of actually shutting down what Sly wants to do, but unlike Matic, Sly is sticking on this, trying to make it work as much as possible, but may decide to switch hero, and it looks like they're going back to spawn here.
It looks like he is. Yes, Sly is going back to spawn, so we'll be changing things up. They realise that this isn't working with 1 minute 30 on the clock. They have enough time to build something up and get something working on that Tracer at the very least.
Like
So,
they're in the hangar now. They're through the door, and now they're going to try and drop down from the main airship
this is really
onto
good
the
position
team as the Dragon Blade comes out.
Shard gonna try and get something with this one, but the sound barrier is just there to nullify him, and he's only really found Royal as well, so Shard really not getting results off the back of that one, having a really tough time with it. Meanwhile, Strike also equally not really doing too much of that one, and Matic is now back on the field, has that nano boost, and is holding down left mouse button like crazy, ladies and gentlemen, as he's trying to find these targets and trying to just confirm a couple of these kills. Valkyrie coming out on the side of the offense just to try and keep people alive that little bit long, but they can't save Dacron and will lose that mech in the process. So as this fight degenerates, it looks like Uwu Tang clan will continue this hold.
45 seconds left on the clock with no ultimates really ready on either side, so Eternal Milk kind of have to outplay it. Hazard actually stood still and let Matic kill him there for a second, so it won't be the DC because of the instant sort of stop in there, but Hazard is just sort of sitting there.
It's just a reset, yeah.
He's now changing over to the Moira, and now it looks like they're going to be going more like quad tank death bally maybe by the looks of it. And it's just a sort of last-ditch attempt to out-sustain what Uwu Tang clan want to do. Who have just been winning this elimination battle like over and over again. Matic almost building up a tactical visor.
Sly's on really high charge. Sly getting a lot done, but the Ana Grenade is good as well, managing to catch most of these tanks, and the follow-up is right there. Lyra lighting up the kill feed beautifully there on that Lucio as well, and now it's definitely looking more and more into the Uwu Tang clan's favour at the moment as Matic brings out that attack visor as well, just to try and shut this down once and for all. Winston doing the best he can, trying to cover by the payload, but it looks like they will be able to do it. They will hold on the payload here in second point, and there we go. Uwu Tang clan gonna take what's point to Brawl.
2-0 up, it's match point for them. They have a 2CP map yet to play, but Eternal Milk will be exhausted from that game. They're going to be really frustrated that they had a good opportunity to sort of push through, but ultimately couldn't get the picks. Maybe they stayed on the Widowmaker too long, but I feel like it was the general theme for Gibraltar anyway, is that they really struggled to actually get those all-important eliminations. Ultimates were fine, ultimate economy and use was fine. It's going to be really difficult, and Uwu Tang clan are going to feel confident that they can close this out, maybe even on King's Row, considering that they lost it last as well.
And okay, map should be loading in. You guys are being treated to a lovely preview screen rather than our terrifying faces so far. Over in chat, hello chat. We've got a moment or two for you, which is while we wait for this one to load up and everyone to get set up and good to go. Just to find out milk supply. It could be an Eternal Milk. It's not over yet, there's still time. The milk should be lasting that long. They've done a really good job throughout this entire tournament, though. They've looked strong throughout, and they seemed poised to take this. But unfortunately, they seem to be tripping up now at the final hurdle. Again, stamina is a big part of these tournaments. They are long tournaments for most players to play in. Most players aren't used to playing sort of this many games in a row. But you eventually, as the more of these you play, the more you get used to it, the more you sort of weather the storm. But definitely sort of wearing them out a little bit. And this is sort of one of those phenomenons that I've sort of talked about in the past, which is the team that goes through the upper brackets. It feels like they might even have a slight deficit every so often because they come into the game a little bit cold. They can watch their enemy play, sure, but they have a breather. They have like this time where they're just not playing, or they can only go into quick play, or they can maybe go and like practice against something. I don't know. But like realistically, the amount of practice, the amount of warm-up they can get compared to their opponents feels a little bit low. So it's not a great shock for these tournaments to see the team coming through the lower bracket and then coming out strong.
Yeah, and I mean, Wu-Tang Clan may have had a good opportunity to win out and be in the winners bracket instead of dropping down. Just certainly if they still had Oki in their team, I think that would have been the case all around. But fortunately, again, it's not necessarily Cubes' fault, but it does kind of throw a wrench into what you want to do as a team. You've got a new person in your lineup that you have to try and play around to an extent. Luckily, Cubes is more of an off-tank player anyway, so luckily it does fit in that situation. But it's going to be interesting to see whether they can close this out and they have this opportunity. They will be attacking first into Eternal. They will be running a triple tank situation. Sly on the Zarya will be met by Matic actually on the Hanzo, who wants to take control of this high ground.
Yeah, Matic looking for some kind of angle. Gets a good sonic arrow in there, just spotting out the enemy team as well. But he's going to be looking for a quick pick or a juicy scatter as well, just to blow up one of those tanks where possible. If you can build up that fast Dragon Strike, of course, it will cause a lot of problems here. The narrow streets of King's Row, the Dragon Strike can really just fill those up and deal a huge amount of damage, especially as the enemy team gets pushed around behind the payload. Meanwhile, we have a bit of a tussle in the hotel at the moment, as we do see Strike looking for some kind of opportunity there to get a lot of that AoE damage in as he repositions himself on the high ground, but finds Matic, who's actually managed to find him with one of those arrows. Matic already has that Dragon Strike available, throws it out, and yes, it is going out. It's cutting the point in two. It's buying a little bit of time, but Strike brings out the Riptire of his own. He's just biding his time. It looks like Kill Feed starting to fill with blue. Jexel going down to that Riptire, and it looks like this offensive is just about finished.
Using a couple of ults there to try and hold it out. Matic actually switching over to the Zarya now, not making as much use out of the Hanzo as first hoped. They will be running a triple tank lineup with Shad on the Soldier that almost has a tap visor ready as well. But of course, Matic is well behind in the Graviton race, but really I don't think that's going to bother Matic too much, as they are starting to push through slowly but surely again, looking for a pick if they can get it, and they have some big ults here as well.
Oh, again with the launching Jexel into the air, putting the Air Shatter through, and Royal just catches so many people. Sound Barrier now being used just to try and get the extra pressure going, just push the enemy team back, but they've already kind of done enough here as the Reinhardt has gone down. When one team has a Reinhardt and the other one doesn't, it just doesn't work out in their favor. It looks like Jexel might have actually gone for an Earth Shatter of his own, but got cancelled, either due to CC or just getting sort of knocked
Royal
away.
Got the Earth Shatter onto the whole of Wu-Tang Clan, but actually we did see Jexel trying to get one onto Royal to sort of shut that down. But here's the Hell Rider combination we spoke about earlier. Charge killing off Matic, who's 64% on his own, Graviton. And a good amount of time used. 50% of the time allocated for this first point at least has been used up so far. And Eternal still have a few more options up their sleeves to deal with Wu-Tang Clan as they push in. Shad still has that attack visor.
And Royal has another Earthshot, even though he got pulled in there. Like, he had the supports with him, he was just there, and Sankey, he almost got a couple of kills off the back of it as well. He's just conserving his barrier at the moment. Royal's been pivotal so far, so he's going to be looking for another one of these angles. And again, the Reinhardt launched. It's just so consistent. This has got to be intentional by the team, and it's played so well. That's it. Shard in a very, very strong position, manages to make his way to the high ground, and is now raining death from above with that tactical visor. Gets a lot of damage done. The hunting down the Moira in the back line, managed to kill her, and it's looking better and better for the Wu-Tang Clan as they do manage to take the point. Lucio doing what he can, but just throws himself onto a couple of rockets, and then Illidra is there to scoop up that kill for themselves. Dacron even getting stalled out, tries to get to the point to contest it a little bit, but just gets killed off, and that's going to make it even harder for them to reinforce properly for point number 2. As Matic keeps on ranging forward, wants to keep his charge high, but does actually die and loses all 100 of it. Oh man,
ready for this next fight, so we're going to see Wu-Tang taking it quite easy. Eternal like to dominate this straight space. This is where they held the point twice before that we've seen. But that point was taken simply because of Sage's amazing sound barrier ult to keep everybody alive even when they were earth shattered. But also the flanking ultimate that we saw coming out of Shad on the tech visor now switches over to the Junkrat, and there's the big Graviton from Matic to clear everybody out.
Yep, Matic manages to get it in. The follow-up isn't quite there, but there is a beautiful Earthshot from Jexel. Manages to scoop up pretty much everybody, even taking Decron for a ride, who has a barrier on him, so he's going to be fine, but does get cleaned up afterwards. And it looks like this payload ain't going to be stopping anytime soon as they just keep it rolling. Beautiful use of the grab there, and then just securing it all with the Earthshatter as needed, rather than just sort of throwing all the ultimates in at once. Very, very nice sort of rolling deployment there, and very happy to see it.
Eternal are going to try and group up here, try and take this fight before this point gets here, because spawn advantage is theirs, albeit it's very limited. So they are going to be pushing in here. They do have a Graviton, and they're going to be pushing in hard with their Riptire as well.
Yep, so Strike just biding his time, waiting for the grab to come through. Almost loses his tire in the process, but actually makes it all the way there with that Hell Rider combo and scoops up a double kill for himself. And now it's just Chaos on the point as a Diva Bomb gets deployed just to buy a little bit of time, a little bit of space for his team as he starts taking the duels. Dacron looking for a couple of targets, but it looks like Eternal Milk are secure on the point at the moment. Sage is running a little bit of death from above on that Lucio. Will use the walls just to bounce his way out to safety and get into a secure location once again. As Jexal looks like he wants to get ready to go in once more. He's just getting prepared on the corner, but he's going to be playing into Royal, who does have that Earth Shadow. Let's see if they can get this combo working again, because it's been so consistent so often so far. There it is once again. The Shadow goes through. Not quite the super high launch, but definitely managing to catch the Reinhardt. Does catch the Lucio, but no follow-up kills at the moment. Sound barrier being used. Cube trying to get what he can at the moment. There he goes to grab, but I think it just got eaten by the Diva.
That was just doing a flyby to try and make sure that they could get back. It was more of an accident more than anything. But Eternal being able to stall this point here is actually amazing to see. They're still managing to win out this fight, even though it's looking sort of a bit iffy. Both use Riptire, cancel out one another to make sure that this fight stays even. But now a Coalescence coming out from Illyria to try and push things through for Uatang. They want to close out this point. Eternal Milk want to make sure that they can stick it here.
Yeah, it's very, very close between the two, but Jexal does have Earthshatter crucially, tries to go for it, manages to catch a number of people, but there's still a lot of people alive. A lot of damage coming out at the moment now as that Reinhardt swinging his way through. This has been a long fight, a brawly fight between these two teams, and only now is it starting to wind down as Eternal Milk continue the hold. This is where they did it before, this is where they're doing it again. They clearly feel comfortable at this part of London by the tube entrance, and it's looking good so far for them as they have a lot of ultimates coming into the next fight.
Almost as another Graviton as well, which is going to be useful for this final fight. Nothing really much to sort of pair it with other than maybe a whole hog coming out of cubes, but Eternal making actually Sly, especially on the Zarya, being able to go toe-to-toe with Matic after that Icy Ball game that we just saw, shows how capable they are to just stay involved in this fight. It's a bit muddy, they like a grindy battle. This is where I think Brigitte would be really good in the game. They would suit a style like Eternal, but they just need to confirm these kills.
Grav goes in. Shard is in a good position as well to try and get a couple of kills over the top. It looks like, yes, he's found the angle. Gets so much damage out. Kill feed just lighting up red. Dacron does get himself a nice double kill there, but he's pretty much alone. Does have Hazard there with him. 3v2 on the point at the moment. Is Dacron just staying alive, but Hazard now the target getting focused down. Does get killed off. Is he right in a lot of trouble? Has to be careful as Dacron just tries to keep the stall going. Reinforcements going to be trying to come out of spawn at the moment.
Eternal,
you
so
see
this is perfect
Strike.
Stall.
Yeah.
Strike coming back. We also seeing Killian coming back as well. Kalo, sorry, and Royal just managing to push through. Riptide also coming through around the flank, so they need to be careful and stay a little bit spread. Obviously, it's going to go for Royal, but there is Sage or Kalo managing to push through. Actually gets a kill onto Shard, but nobody's actually on the point anymore. So this might be an opportunity for Uatang to actually push this
they're
point.
struggling. Sound barrier does get used, manages to catch 3 people as they do, manage to reconvene on the point, and now we have more of a full-fledged brawl here, ladies and gentlemen. Sound barrier just being used to buy a little bit of time as those reinforcements get into position, but Jexal scoops up the single kill, and now he's looking for even more. Meanwhile, Dacron trying to hunt down what he can, but it's just a slow grind of health down on one side. Unfortunately, Uwu seem to just be constantly doing a little bit more DPS and just don't seem to be taking any damage of their own so far. Royal's going to try and go for a charge, does manage to connect there and get himself, the cap on his ultimate charge, I do believe, at the moment. They will manage to complete King's Row third, and they will start pushing it forward. A lot of ultimates built up on the side of Eternal Milk for the defense, but still they're in a lot of trouble as well. Ooh, have absolutely tons.
And the main one is Graviton again that managed to build up in that fight. Scrappy, but Eternal didn't manage to win out that one like they did under Gibraltar this time. Uatang managing to get the all-important picks. Eternal's still struggling. Slightly changed over to the Sombra some time ago away from the Zarya. So now they're going to be pushed up through. Royal looking for another Earthshatter. That's a big Diva Bomb that could get a couple of kills, but that is a big Graviton as well.
Oh, that's the bigger bang. And unfortunately, I think Jaxel just knocked everybody out of the bigger bang at that precise moment as well. That's how Killfield is still filling up with red at the moment. Royal trying to do what he can, almost gets knocked off. Has to be very, very careful as, again, we have one of these scrappy fights around the point, but the reinforcement's going to be coming in so much faster for the defense. They have to be very, very careful here as they do continue the pressure. Will continue to push people back. Strike does get the better of Jaxel there as a lot of supports now coming out from that spawn door. They're going to have one more opportunity here to try and get the contest going. Royal, where are you? Strike How far are you from that Dragon Blade? Sly brings out the EMP, does manage to get Qs, but no one else really with that one, as they're going to struggle to confirm this into any other kills. They haven't managed to use it to regroup at the very least, but that might not be enough here, as the sound barrier going to be coming out on the side of the offense, going to get ready to reinitialize with this one. Royal is looking for his opportunity though, just drops the hammer down. It does actually manage to get through the barrier though, and here come the kills as Strike does bring out the Dragon Blade. We do see Jexal get on the point. He is actually moving it forward. No one's there. Kylo has to come back and manages to peel him off it. They have to be so careful that they don't leave it, as it's so very close to the end. It looks like they will just about be able to do it here, though, as the reinforcements are there. Dacron is there just to clean up the tanks as well. And they will hold at the very last breath of King's Road. 2.29 meters left
They'll
on
be
that
happy
push.
that they managed to finish out the map without giving up all 3 checkpoints, but Eternal would have wanted to have held it in the point that they're well known for holding it. Now, Uatang Clan want to just make sure that they can hold it at some point within the map. It's basically Eternal need to complete it to win this round, but Uwu looking stronger overall, I feel. Now we're starting to see Eternal Milk start to go a little bit stinky, a little bit more thick, and just a little bit more sour, just as time has gone on. They're still going toe-to-toe with Uwu, but most certainly in those situations where it's getting scrappy and those picks are important, they're not getting them in the same way that Uwu Clan are starting to as well.
And it looks like for Eternal Milk at the moment, they seem to be considering their options. They might be bringing out their hands, though. They did try it before. It didn't work hugely well. Sly did manage to fat finger one of his dragon strikes as well, which always a little bit unfortunate. Meanwhile, on the defense, we see a lot of tanks being suggested at the moment. So it looks like they're going to be running the Reinhardt Roadhog, combined with Matic picking up that Soldier 76 once again, perhaps suspecting a Widowmaker. Of course, I'd love to see Strike, yes, taking that Junkrat. Looks like he wants to be playing on that one. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Meanwhile, Shard opting for the Tracer to cause a little bit of chaos. And Uwu seem to be positioning again with that very sort of high ground spread. Rather than playing around the hotel, they want to play from high ground position, spread out a little bit, and try and find a couple of good angles to get some shots in.
A lot of pressure on Eternal's favor to try and win this out. Like, they have a good opportunity here, but this all relies on this attack on King's Road to whether they have an opportunity to stay within this game, or whether Uwu are going to take this in a 3-0 fashion. Looking at the teams, it's going to be difficult to try and shut down what Eternal are going to try and run. Strike on this Junkrat has been phenomenal. This combination with Royal. The Chron is actually going to be on the Zarya as well, so wants to replicate the same kind of pushes that Sly has been playing, whilst Sly plays on the hands of this first push. Uwu very traditional lineup as
no
well, but
diva
from either side. There's going to be a lot of damage run around here and a lot of ultimates because of it.
And I'd say that this really falls into Eternal Milk's favour, because the only thing that can really stop a lot of the combos that they are looking to try and run is going to be that Diva, and that's going to be, well, cause a lot of problems. Meanwhile, though, Sly seems to be occupied, just getting distracted there by the Tracer a little bit as he does try and get an arrow into her noggin and just cause a couple of problems. Sly slowly building up this ultimate, causing some problems. There's the scatter arrow that they were waiting for, though. Reinhardt dropping his shield for just a moment too long. The scatter arrow annihilating that tank. Sleep dart as well, causing some problems there for Cubes on the Roadhog as the focus does start coming through at the moment. They just roll forward to take this point. Shard's going to do what he can to try and stall this one out and cause a couple of issues as he does juke around, but Royal is just there with the hammer, puts an end to that one, and Eternal Milk taking the first point in decisive fashion.
They do take it in a decent amount of time as well. They have a Riptide, they have an Earth Shatter, they almost have a Dragon Strike. You're kind of hoping that Slide doesn't hold on to a Dragon Strike just to keep the Chron ready for the grab charge, which isn't really built up at all, really. Uwu Clan want to try and take a fight early, maybe in this archway, but they need a pick, and it kind of relies a lot on Matic with the Tactical Visor, perhaps, or Shard getting a Pulse Bomb in the back for them to actually push on through here. But as time goes on, this goes into more Eternal's favour than Uwu's right now.
A little bit of chaos happening on the high ground during all of that. Soldier 76 Matic trying to find a flank, trying to find some kind of angle. Unfortunately, he ran into a Junkrat who just exploded the hell out of him. Speaking of being exploded the hell out of, though, Shard manages to get a stick onto Royal. Does manage to convert that one into a kill, and that is going to give the Uwu Clan a little bit of breathing room at the moment. This is what they need. They need to slow this one down as much as possible. They've got a lot of time left to try and hold this as hard as they can. So the more they can get at this choke point, the better, as the advantages will slowly slowly start to slip away. Matic actually managing to get set up on that high ground, even getting a lot of bullets onto Royal, and it's going to be difficult to displace him up here unless they can get a lot of support up and running. And with Matic looking for a flank at the moment, he's just waiting for that tac visor, waiting for that opportunity. The Hanzo could try and get a pick on him, but has to be very, very careful as Matic just constantly causing problems and biding his time, waiting for his moment.
Changing over to the D.Va on this pick as well. So the only DPS that they have in their triple tank lineup is a Hanzo, with the Graviton Dragon Blade combo about to get ready. Earthshatter comes through, does get some picks because it's inconsistent. The Sound Barrier comes through actually to protect both from the Earthshatter, but also a flanking Matic tac visor that's coming through as well. Very scrappy fight.
Matic Sack Visor really not getting much of anything. That D.Va swap just shut it down pretty much instantaneously. Peeled back, managed to push it away at the moment. And now Matic in a lot of trouble as he's getting hunted down by that D.Va and just kills himself with his own rocket. Feels pretty bad, man, there. Cube's going to try and buy a little bit of space for his team on the point, though. Does bring out the whole hog and will try and stabilize where he can. But there's just a lot of blue opposition there. And Sly still has that Dragon Strike, still hasn't decided to use it. We'll bring it out now and we'll just put it through the Streets phase. There's an Earthshatter as well to follow up, managing to get a lot of damage on the back of both of those. And they will keep this one rolling. Eternal Milk looking good to finish out the second point here. Sleep Darts coming through as well, just making it so much easier for them just to confirm these kills over and over, and the payload keeps on trucking forward.
There might be an opportunity for Eternal to sort of push this to the final checkpoint without having one final engagement. Utang kind of scrapping to get onto the point. D.Va Bomb kind of comes through to split it as Matic gets taken out by it because he was slept as well from Hazard. So this point is looking to be going in Eternal's favour, but again, another really scrappy fight coming out of both of these teams.
Yeah, we do see the coalescence coming out from Illyra as well. Hazard's been doing such a good job throughout this as well, so consistent with getting these sleep darts at pivotal times and getting them on pivotal targets. It's been absolutely superb, but Cubes comes in, puts an end to Hazard's nonsense on the point, and this is where they really want to be holding. But Sly puts a Dragon Strike right across the point. There's very little room for people to maneuver here, and doesn't even get the confirmed kill onto Sage, as that damage is going to be enough for them just to keep this payload rolling. Dacron does have the Dragon, not the Dragon Strike, sorry, the Graviton Surge available to him should he need it just to close this point out. I don't think he wants to use it. Looks like he's just going to try and DPS his way through, and it looks like it might just be enough as well, as Royal just goes to put pressure onto Jexile as well. They're just not stopping with this aggression. If Jexile goes down as well, that's going to create a huge opening right now for Royal, who does have that Earthshatter, and this is looking better and better for Eternal Milk.
Decision to not use the Graviton with that point. They just had the ability to stall out the point with running the quad tanks with a Hanzo as well. Hanzo just been really good at being able to get those picks, albeit doesn't really have the consistent damage as Hanzo is known for. Matic also switching over to the Zarya, 50% or so on a Graviton as well. So basically Eternal want to take this fight very early, make sure that Matic can't start to get momentum, make sure that he gets a grab of his own. So he's going to try and push in. There comes the Earthshatter.
Oh,
this might be the final
slapped.
fight here.
Oh, Royal though gets boots off. He has a nano boost and the sound barrier on him, but he just gets launched off the map by Sage. What a play coming out of that Lucio. And now, can they turn it around? No, Sage gets another one. Oh my god, Kaylor is gone as well. And here comes the Dragon Blade from Shah. He just instantaneously dies. But I don't think it's going to make a difference here, as the Wu-Tang will hold at this point.
Gets another
and it's looking better and better for them the longer this fight. Oh, he gets another one as well. This is building him right back up towards that sound barrier as well. Those boot kills do translate into a huge amount of ultimate charge every single time he gets one, so he's already back on 30% despite using it in that previous fight.
Graviton for this next fight as well. There's a few more options on Wu Tang's favour as Eternal swap up to a quad tank lineup with Sly switching over to the Zarya, Dacron now back onto D.Va, and Strike now playing Roadhog. So a bit of a switch around. They actually do get the pick up to Sage, who's just sort of lolling around the point, meandering and gets up to take it out. And now they're going to turn around and take this. They're all Graviton, but they're big belly tanks, they can take it.
Yeah, they are big belly tanks and they can take it. Q's now coming in with the whole hog, but gets cancelled out of it by Strike. All these tanks causing so much issue at the moment. Illyra just putting the coalescence through them all, but they don't give a heck. They're just fine with that situation at the moment, as the anti-heal grenade coming out of Hazard again just catches just about everybody currently involved in this fight and just causing so many problems. They're trying to get some focus onto Hazard as well, but he's just doing so much healing and getting so much value every single time with these grenades. It's huge. Hazard with an amazing Ana play so far has nano boost available to him once again as well. No great targets to put it on. He's just probably going to put it on Royal once more just to cause a lot of problems on this final point, as it looks like they're ready to take this to the final fight. There goes the nano boost onto Royal. Royal, what can you do, son, as you are swinging left, right, and center, trying to get a couple of kills. Shard brings up the Dragon Blade. Shard, you're going to try and get a lot of kills here, but no, you get caught by the Earthshatter. Royal just picks him up, and it looks like Eternal Milk might be keeping the dream alive here, as they do keep this payload rolling. Matic just gets launched straight into the pit, and there we go. Eternal Milk brings it through, 2-1 in this series.
Pit taking full advantage here on King's Row, but amazing from Eternal to be able to take some of those advantages It did look like Sage on his own on the Lucio could turn that fight, but it does look like we will be going to get another match. I believe this next one's going to be 2CP, so Uwu-Tang do get to decide what's going to be going on here. But Shard on this Junkrat again, amazing play with the combinations of not only the Earthshatter but the Gravitons as well. Really showed that this hero, even though he got nerfed some time ago, is still a very strong and powerful pick. Trying to full hold, that's probably going to be like their goal this game.
I mean, yeah, like Eternal Milk did it before. Eternal Milk looked really good on this map, so like this is sort of the one concern. Now the question is, like, are they going to go for this dive defense, or are they going to try something else? I mean, last time we were expecting Matic to be running the Widowmaker, didn't end up doing so, if I remember correctly.
Uwu-Tang Clan playing on 2CP. It was Eternal Milk that we saw before that weren't running a Widowmaker. They were playing a very aggressive dive that looked a little bit sketchy, but I Need Healing weren't able to actually finish it out. They weren't able to take that advantage.
There you go.
Eternal Milk need to be aware of that there was a big hole that can be easily exploited, and Uwu-Tang Clan are the kind of team that are going to do that. So it's the sort of thing that they're going to be going through and trying to work out.
Looks like there's no fancy defense coming out, no Orisa on the high ground by the looks of things. There's no sign of the Mei anywhere, so it looks like it's going to be playing a low ground Orisa strategy, so just playing from that sort of middle area block and just playing what looks like a very anti-dive comp. This is somewhat typical for this map. Sometimes you'll see the Widowmaker instead of the Soldier 76, but Matic bringing Soldier 76 to the fore at the moment and will be trying to cause a number of problems with that one as the gates do start to open. Meanwhile, Sly looks like he is opting for that Widowmaker. He's going to take his time on his way out. Cheeky Rocket coming out of Matic gets himself 20 ultimate charge for free. That's always a little bit disappointing when that ends up going through.
Sly's going to slowly take an opportunity. Maybe just make it seem that they're not going to be running the Widowmaker. Actually, what we're going to be seeing is Eternal Milk using this left-hand side as they're attacking to make sure that Uwu-Tang can like engage with them. But actually, Uwu-Tang Clan aren't really falling for that bait. They're going to sit back. They are kind of expecting a Widowmaker to be in and around them. But so far, Sly has done nothing. He's just sat on here waiting for this opportunity.
Well, past the 15 seconds, like, the surprise is ruined, right? Because you just have a support press tab and you just go, oh, they have a Widowmaker. So I really like this reposition from Uwu-Tang because they are just in a position where the Widowmaker just can't do anything at the moment. Matic is completely safe just to stay up here and shoot at targets. Managed to get Cheeky Rocket onto strike as well, take him down, and now Royal in a lot of trouble as Matic just gets kill after kill after kill. Widowmaker doing absolutely nothing on that backline, spent so long getting set up that it just let the clan set up on high ground, no issue there as they rain out the damage. I really shouldn't call them the clan either, as that sounds like something else.
Uwu-Tang Clan actually sitting back instead of trying to take the engagement on the left hand side by the mega health pack as you're attacking. They actually did the opposite. They actually backed up onto the high ground because they knew and weren't going to fall for the strategy of being pulled out into the open when there's a Widowmaker. But Sly changing over to the Tracer, much more aggressive push coming out of Eternal Milk, but there's going to be a Riptire that's going to give chase to a good portion of them.
Shade getting a cheeky kill onto Slide, and there goes the Riptire as well, scooping up Royal. And that's going to pretty much put an end to this one as well. The Lucio trying to get out. Looks like he might just be able to bounce out. Kylor getting out by the skin of his teeth at the moment, but still, the clan, well, it's just so much easier to say the clan. Otherwise, we're just going to go with the Wu-Tang Clan. The Wu-Tang Clan continue their hold. And will hold. Ah, no. Ooh, strike with a cheeky pick, though. Takes out the Lucio. That is a big loss. That's a lot of healing gone, a lot of support gone, and now he's just going to go straight in. Matic, though, has him in his sights at the moment. Just going to force him onto that back foot, but there is the Winston just pushing him onto that back foot. Going to force him to run for his dear life. Okie Smoky is there for the peel at the very least, but still, Dacron going to be hunting him down and then causing problems on the point. Dacron set up now entrenched on that point, and this looks like Eternal Milk going to be able to flip this one over. The set of reinforcements going to come in way quicker, and there we have it. Eternal Milk take first point here.
It's just as you said as well that they weren't looking to take this, that actually Strike managed to get the picks onto first Sage and then Illyria pretty much straight afterwards. This kind of opportunity allows them to be able to push onto this point very aggressively. There's no Graviton, there's no big ultimates, no Dragon Blade from either side, so it's just a case of trying to outplay what Uwu-Tang Clan want to do here. And that barrage might be the option here, but they're starting with a Diva Bomb that's going into a good opportunity. Picks off Sage yet again. This is a good opportunity for them to push in here.
And Strike gets himself a double kill as well. The Sombra swap, like, this is a Sombra map, but it's a Sombra map because you can build EMP for every single fight and just use that health pack non-stop. The health pack was very beneficial. I don't think that same logic quite applies here on the defense, and now they're getting a bit snowballed as they just leverage the ultimates, take the point straight away. 4 minutes 53 left on the clock. Took them a total of 3 minutes and 7 seconds to complete Anubis, and that is a pretty darn good time.
The Kron was one of the best ways to start that fight, and again, we saw some really subpar plays coming out of Pharah players. Strike actually showing how it's done, got the barrage fairly quickly and then used it in a good opportunity. Whilst I suppose Wu-Tang were looking at the fact that one of their supports was taken out by the D.Va Bomb, it gave an opportunity for Strike to actually use the barrage to kill a few more people. But also I believe that I don't think Sage had the sound barrier that fight, but if it did, that just goes to show how much more impactful that would have been. But this is looking really good from Eternal Milk. They have full held it in the past, not against Wu-Tang Clan, mind, but they want to be running a strategy that they can try and hold this first point for as long as possible. Make sure that the Clan can't do the same kind of thing on their attack.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. We do see these teams getting ready with their defensive options at the very least. Those are the more reliable ones. It looks like they will be playing that dive strategy once again, so they're looking to go for a very, very aggro counter engage on the opposing side at the moment. Meanwhile, in the other spawn, well, there's a lot of clowning happening at the moment as we do see the Doomfist option being considered. Sage, once again, picking up that Widowmaker just to tease with it, but unfortunately, as a support player, I somehow doubt that they will be running the mono support with a Widow. It's not unheard of, it's not uncalled for, but it's a unique strategy and normally not played on 2CP, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. It'll be kind of interesting to see that one come out.
A lot of I suppose pressure would go into Valeria on the Moira. As a solo support, it can be done. There's a good amount of healing output, but not from Matic or Sage if they're going to be pushing through. Going to be weird if they actually run this lineup. Sage on a Widowmaker as well would be bizarre to say the least. Yeah,
there we
it's
go.
not going to be happening.
We have a rushdown team.
Which is understandable, so it's a very balanced lineup. But Matic on the Reaper is the interesting thing. They're just going to run onto the point. Eternal Milk doing that lineup.
Yeah,
this is where they could be caught out by trying to do the strategy.
This could really go in their favor though. Like previously, the last time we saw this, it was like, oh yeah, the tanks just really want to fight on the point. They're just going to sprint straight onto it, no goddamn problem. And now that Reaper set up on the point, has the healing from the Moira, he's just going to be decimating these tanks, no issue at all. The Genjis did give him a little bit of an upset and one or two problems, but they are just entrenched on this point. The healing is coming out in a big fashion as well from Illyra, and that is going to be a very, very fast coalescence coming up in mere moments. And if the Genji wants to cause problems, well, they're not going to be able to cause problems with a huge purple and golden Kamehameha beam. Doesn't even need it so far.
They're holding aggressively like that. Wu-Tang are just going to look at it and go, we're going to fight on the point. But when you have a Reaper, when you have the Moira, when you have this very tanky lineup, again, Eternal Milk, they got away with it last time against I Need Healing, but Wu-Tang Clan, as I said, weren't going to be exploited. They were going to take full advantage of that, and now they're going to push through here aggressively, building up a Death Blossom, which is one of the best ultimates for the second point here as well. So Oki's going to throw this bomb in, try get a pick, and then go from there.
It doesn't even use the bomb, they just, oh no, they do throw the bomb in, just up and over again. Counter bomb comes up, but Dekron in a lot of trouble, might die before he gets in the mech. Yes, he will. Matic just scoops up that kill, and even though the charge connected there from Royal, it still puts him on the back foot at the moment as this Death Blossom just gets closer and closer. Ultimates now coming online as the Wu-Tang Clan just have the ultimates in their back pocket. There goes the Death Blossom. Gets launched into the Mercy. Matic just thrown at Hazard. Oh no, the anti-synergy, ladies and gentlemen, is real as it looks like the Wu-Tang Clan will be able to take this point in extremely quick time, as I don't think anyone's really going to be able to get back in time. And there we have it, 6 minutes 7 seconds left on the clock.
That was a very strong push. It was Eternal Milk just been exploited, and the typical snowball that you would see coming out of stuff that's going through. Wu-Tang Clan, it was a weird play to Death Blossom in the moment Matic did it. He obviously saw Hazard coming in with a Valkyrie to try and stall on the point. He Death Blossom to basically be like, get away, don't try and touch the point, don't try and contest, or try and fly through me, you'll die. But what ended up happening was the charge actually came in from Royal that knocked Matic into the air onto the little high ground perch that you usually see Widowmakers on, and it actually managed to hit Hazard, who was backing away at the same time. So one of the more interesting plays that we saw coming out, but Wu-Tang actually set in a much stronger time. Eternal Milk are going to be sort of a bit exhausted that they did a decent push on their first engagement. You know, 5 minutes on the clock is a really strong push, but the fact that Wu-Tang managed to do it with a minute more goes to show that they're really fighting uphill on this kind of battle. So they need to try and replicate a much stronger second push, but really improve on their main push as well.
So let's see how these guys go. Let's see what they're opting for on the defense. Looks like a tanky comp coming out. Looks like Jexel actually moving away from the Orisa, going back to the Reinhardt. Maybe just feeling a little bit more comfortable on it so far. Meanwhile, Royal looks like he's going to be opting for the Reinhardt. So we do see a very tanky comp coming out of Eternal Milk. They're going to be changing things up and just trying to run, again, straight on the point. Trying to do very similar to what their opponents were doing with that Junkrat available to them. No Widowmaker shenanigans so far as things turn more towards the tanky between these teams, which doesn't surprise me considering how well the tanks have been playing on both sides. Royal in a good position at the moment just to get a lot of cheeky damage onto that high ground, however. A lot of damage being taken by Eternal Milk as they do start muscling the way onto the point. We do see the charges connecting to each other, however. No one really getting the better of that one. Just Decron in a lot of trouble. Does get DMEC nice and early. Matic just getting a lot of damage out from the high ground and just shooting away at people left, right, and center. Royal gonna try for a charge, but I think this push is slowly eroding away. As a no, Sly actually scooping up a double kill so far. So what's Sly up to here on this area? Has been on the point. The point is ticking up as well. They have got their first third, and Hazard getting a lot of damage done as well. Now it's just Shard left on that Roadhog, and they're in a lot of trouble here. As it looks like a lot of damage is coming out from an unexpected sources here. As Matic just not going to be enough just to hold this.
It's mostly landed onto Sly's shoulders, who's currently on 0 charge, actually, on the Zarya. So I don't quite know what is quite going away. I don't know whether it's a bug from my perspective. No, it actually does look like Sly's outputted 0 damage.
Yeah, he's on 0.
For this next push. Strike also having a Riptide ready in the wings. And the combinations that we've seen alongside Royal's Earth Shatters has been somewhat amazing. So Wu-Tang Clan have to be very careful here. Matic actually generated a tactical visor very quickly as well in that fight, but unfortunately never found a good avenue to use it. Now he wants to shut down this Eternal Milk push. It's kind of now or never in this regard.
And the Graviton Surge is up and available. We do have a Riptire as well coming in, but there goes the grab as well. Strike gets himself one at the very least. Royal connecting with a crunch on that charge. Matic has the visor, but gets shut down by Decron. Decron just goes, finds it, takes him down, and now Royal is set up with the Earth Shatter, gets himself a big fat triple with that one, slams the Roadhog against the wall, and it looks like this is going to be another fast offensive. Eternal Milk looking a lot better, but Royal was not paying attention. He took his eye off the ball, and now Jexal comes in from the side with a huge Earth Shatter of his own. This is the sign of hubris, ladies and gentlemen. This is being fatigued and mistakes creeping in. Still might not be enough though, as Royal does take him down, does get a bit of vengeance, does make up for that mistake, and will continue this fight on the point that little bit longer. Sound barrier being used to stall out that little bit longer, but again, this is not getting converted into kills. Royal in a lot of trouble though, is getting focused down, does have the healing from his Moira, just keeping him alive as Hazard gets the Coalescence up and running. That might be enough just to keep everybody alive, get that little bit of extra damage in place as well, as we do see Royal swinging through, but here comes the Blizzard. Royal is stunned and he's going to be turned into a popsicle. There he is, he's a Royal to kill as he's just stuck on the point. Sage to scoop himself up a kill onto Sly, who's going to be a big source of damage in this fight. The point is ticking up once again. We have Reaper coming out of the spawn as well. Shard coming in. Pulse Bomb goes onto Okie Smoky, will disable that one. Diva Bomb getting dropped off as well. Shard in a lot of trouble here, gets hunted down, killed off. Point ticking up that little bit further. Still contested by Sage though, and it's now Evira manages to get back on the point. You've got a true 2CP Bonanza. Oh, the Shadow gets shut down, but reinforcements going to be coming in, and crucially Sly's going to be coming in, has the Graviton Surge available to him, might be able to buy a little bit of time for his team as it does come in. There goes the Diva Bomb, trying to just get something done, but Royal is there to block it, does manage to catch one, does get the grab, does pull people off the point, but Reaper just Wraith Forms out of it at the moment. It's still going, ladies and gentlemen, as Uhura gonna try and hold this one with the Coalescence, does get taken down. Beautiful stalling there from the Wu-Tang Clan, but it's not going to be quite enough. 2 minutes, 4 seconds
I don't really
left
know
on the
who
clock.
to commend more, really. Wu-Tang Clan for being able to hold on for that long, or Eternal Milk just having the capacity to keep pushing through and the tenacity to manage to stay involved in that fight for so long. It was kind of both teams balanced each other out, but Eternal Milk always looks good in those situations where a team fight starts to break down into chaos, and they seem to take advantage from that. Whereas Wu-Tang are a little bit more clean and convicted, but when stuff starts to hit the fan, they don't quite look as comfortable to improvise a lot of the time. But now, Wu-Tang need to try and finish them up yet again, hopefully with a quicker time. Eternal Milk just need to not get caught out by that same strategy that they keep doing on this defense. They need to be smarter than this, because Wu-Tang are going to run the same strategy by the looks of it, by just deathballing the point with triple tanks Reaper.
We already see one adaptation coming through. Strike has picked up the Junkrat, and it looks like, yes, they are changing things up. So Royal bringing out the Reinhardt, setting the course for the team. Sly still playing on that Sombra, however. Going to be trying to disable a cheeky shield here and there, perhaps, and maybe get some pivotal hacks. But like we commented on the past, on these tanky comps, Sombra's going to have a tough time just getting those finishing blows, really actually giving damage to your team is going to be the big issue, and without a Zenyatta there as well, I just worry about the overall damage output from this team as the gates open. The tanks start rolling the way forward.
Learning from their mistakes, playing very conservatively, very far back, and it's going to be a lot of emphasis on Strike putting in a good amount of damage. It's just trucking away. Royal also throwing in some fire strikes, but now they just want to fight on this point. Both teams want to fight up close and personal, but I feel like this is going to give more advantage to Uatang, who are now starting pushing very aggressively here. Kind of back to Eternal Milk into the corner.
Yeah, they've managed to force them back at the very least. Sombra did manage to get a hack onto that Diva, so we'll be shutting that one down a little bit. Strike managing to get rid of Sage. That's a lot of healing going away for this team, as it looks like, yeah, they are a bit nervous. Matic's just going to back his way out. They have built up a lot of ultimates. Illyra's actually going to commit the ultimate to this one, so looks like they're not quite done yet, as Sly did manage to go and hunt down that finishing blow there. Sly in a lot of trouble, though, has to be very, very careful. Here comes the Riptide.
Nice.
Doesn't quite... Oh, no, it does manage to catch him as the Moira exits the Fade, and there we go. Killfeed fills up with red, and Eternal Milk will continue their hold. But there's still a lot of time on that clock. I like what
Strike did there. He went in for the Riptide just as Hazard was as soon as Illyria was ending the Coalescence. He managed to fade just in time to avoid it, but Strike kind of knew that was going to happen. Managed to get not only Illyria in that situation, but also Oki Smoke out of mech as well. But now Matic's going to be on the Widowmaker as the tanks try to fight up close. It makes space for Matic to try and get picks, and Eternal Milk are looking a bit patchy here.
EMP does come out for the side of the defense, and I'm going to follow that one up with a bunch of juicy kills. Matic is having a hard time getting past the Reinhardt barrier. Royal and Co are just defending so far back and just defending so close together that he can't just get bullets through the barrier. Unless they wear that one down, it's going to be difficult. That said, the EMP has gone through, so that threat is now gone. Beautiful headshot onto Royal there. Has managed to build up most of an infra site so far, so we'll have that available for the next push. Just going to deploy it straight away as he's looking for a target or two. Let's see where the Wu-Tang opt to go. Matic's in a little bit of trouble. Has to be careful that he doesn't just die here, as the supports aren't really there just to pick him back up. Moira has to launch an orb towards him. That orb is not going to be available there. Shard does manage to find a kill onto Sly, however, as they do go and pick out that single kill so far. Shard's just going to hang back a little bit as well, spamming grenades into that back corner. The Diva Bomb gets launched into that back alley as well, going to force people out. Gets a double kill. Earthshatter comes through as well. Strike gets himself a double. Shard going to try and replicate that even more, though. It brings in the Riptide, hunts down the Lucio, and this is anybody's map so far. Matic still getting set up on the point, is uncontested as well. Will be putting bullets down range, and it looks like they will be able to do it. It looks like Wu-Tang will take this first point. Now they just have to take the next one as Dacron tries to stall it out as best as he can.
Well with the Translocator on the high ground to go back to and try and run away and stall it out. They do have an Earthshatter. Royal wants to use it. They want to actually try to shut up this fight as soon as possible. They don't want to give this up because they know how bad it can snowball, but Royal doesn't actually dedicate the Earthshatter. Gives it up. The rest of Eternal Milk try and back out a little bit onto this point, whilst Uatang don't really have any ultimates other than the Sound Barrier, maybe a Diva Bomb for this next push. Eternal Milk have a couple of things themselves. Strike changes over to the Genji, no doubt to try and contest Matic on the Widowmaker, who got away with quite a lot that push.
Yeah, they had nothing really to deal with him. Of course, Widowmaker a little bit less effective on this final point. Just the sightlines aren't quite as good. There's so many pillars in the way as he's trying to look for some kind of angle, but now the Genji's just there to try and harass him. We even have a Reaper coming out from Wu-Tang as they just start advancing onto the point once more. Shard putting so much pressure on the enemy tanks as he just keeps on firing those Hellfire shotguns. A lot of issue at the moment for Strike as he goes down. Earthshatter out on the point, not being too pivotal so far, but Shard continuing to just put so much damage downfield with that Reaper, just getting so much work done so far. Does get taken out by Dacron though, and that might just be what this team needed. It might be what Eternal Milk wanted out of this fight, because this is going to give them a lot more breathing room. There's just a lot less damage coming out for the team. Royal is a lot more free to just try and get a couple of kills. It looks like he's going to try and chase Sage away, but I think they have just about done it on this defense. Yes, they will continue their hold.
Of not only this round, but the whole match is now starting to shift in Eternal Milk's favour. For the first time, it's not looking like the Wu-Tang clan will be able to take the point within 30 seconds, meaning that Eternal Milk have set a much stronger time, all thanks to that first hold on defense. But Shard Reaper's really good on this point. Matic actually switching over to the McCree now as well, just to have a little bit more sort of prominence. Strike is building up a Dragon Blade, and Hazard has the Coalescence ready as well. So they're kind of the win conditions to make sure that this fight doesn't go south for Eternal Milk. They want to make use out of those ultimates, make sure that Slide, the Kron, and the rest can get picks as they need them. But another big Earth Shatter comes through from Jexel.
Big Earthshatter comes through. Big Death Blossom as well, trying to get something done. It was mostly deflected, and Strike managing to clean that one up with the Dragon Blade, but still a lot of kills in that kill feed as Okismoki lights it up. Jexal even scooping himself up one there with the Rocket Hammer, swinging that for the fences at the moment as Matic confirms that final kill at the moment. There's still a Lucio bouncing around in the ceiling. Got to get rid of him. There we go, and now it's time for a Deadeye. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen, and Royal goes for the Earthshatter. Unfortunately, he dropped his barrier in front of the Deadeye and McCree. Gets taken down pretty much instantaneously, and now Dacron in a lot of trouble. Low hit point at the moment as the McCree just continues to dole out the damage. He's looking for a bunch of kills here. Strike, though, very, very close. Does manage to get the kill on Matic as well. Almost has his ultimate, but no. Okismoki gonna confirm the kill on his way out, but unfortunately Okismoki is the last one alive and might even be getting DMAxed here by Sly as he's just trying to keep that defense matrix up. Will just make it out in one piece
as well, but it's another disengage that Uatang clan have to make. They haven't even got a third on this point with only a minute left. Matic actually switching over to the Zarya, Shard onto the Soldier, and they're just going to be running a bit more of a stacked composition, a little bit more vanilla, cut and dry to try and take this point. But Sly's now on the Reaper as well, kind of shut down the triple tank as it comes through. There's a Diva Bomb that comes through. See whether it gets any kills. It actually kills Kaleo, not for the first time. He keeps getting picked by some of these big ultimates. Now Strike's going to come in with the Dragon Blade.
Yep, Strike looking for what kills he can find. Does get taken down by Sage, but again, there's just so many people on that blue side dead at the moment that it's not really going to be enough. And yeah, Hazard even picking up Kalor just to make the numbers advantage that more omnipresent. 30 seconds left on the clock. It looks like Wu-Tang want to have one more attempt, one more shot at this. Do not miss your chance to blow up, ladies and gentlemen. If they can take this one, then their dreams of the grand final are still in there. Of course, they need to be able to take it before overtime ticks over, I think. Otherwise, they will be playing for a draw.
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible.
Believe.
Wu-Tang Clan can't finish out this competition just yet.
Yeah.
So now they're going to be pushing in another big Earth Shatter from Royal.
Oh.
It kind of sets the tone from what this match has been. Another scrappy game, but it's looking very much like Eternal Milk are going to win this one out. Actually, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bit of C9. There were people in and around the point, but it already looked like it was going in Eternal Milk's favour. Wu-Tang Clan weren't able to finish it out. We will be going to a 2-2 decider, I believe, on Control, which is obviously very much favour to Wu-Tang Clan, as they haven't lost a game on it yet.
So we'll see how this one goes. It's been a long tournament, but we're going the distance between these two teams. We said they were going to be close going in. It looked like Wu-Tang. So welcome to Dorado. You guys are no doubt seeing some lovely flyby shots, some beautiful, beautiful scenery of this lovely map that is actually inspired by a Spanish town and not a Mexican one. Or it's Italian, I think, actually, an Italian town, and not really a Mexican one.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
feels bad, man. Trickery
from their part, I believe. Trying to work out what's sort of going on with this match. As we do make our way into Dorado, Eternal Milk will be defending first, and we will be seeing Uwu pushing through on attack. See what they do, whether there's going to be any changes to the game that they had earlier. Of course, it's a big advantage to Eternal Milk that went out this map before, but granted, Eternal Milk have been good from strength to strength as that Kingsword game happened. Trying to push on through, trying to make advantage of whatever they can.
Traveling to Dorado.
And going from there. But this is the first time that this has kind of happened, so there's obviously going to be like teething issues and trying to work out what's going on from here. But generally, this is where it all comes down to. It's only really playing for the likes of some... What? It's honor.
Some
honor. Glory.
Some glory.
But other than that, they're playing
being
for
able to say you're the best for 2 weeks.
Is worth noting and adding there as well.
Okay, then prepare your defenses. Just about over. Looks like the gates will be opening in a moment. The defense opting for a relatively standard comp, although they are bringing the Zarya to the fore, so going to be running that Zarya on first point. No sign of an Orisa either. Sly opting for the McCree. Let's see how they go. Matic, again, not something for the Widowmaker either. We've got McCree's on both sides of all things, as Diacron literally gets stuck on a cactus for a moment or two. He has a bit of a nuzzle with it and moves around to hold on that choke point.
Sort of turn around to try and hold this point on Eternal. making sure that they don't get caught out. They're just repositioning, making sure that they can control this choke as much as possible. Neither team really losing anybody in this fight yet, but K-Log goes very, very low as Uwu Tang start to push in, start to increment their lead and try and get his K-Log moving.
The cheeky flank from the DPS though. Matic comes in from the side on that McCree, manages to get a hold of Sly, and the Junkrat there in support of him as well. That's going to start snowballing over as the DPS just gets better and better and better. But the Junkrat trap rather is there. Strike now going to confirm a kill as well into Jexel. Uses that Riptire to blow the point wide open, and it looks like they will just about hold, especially using this Valkyrie and the res just to bring Lucio back. It looks good at the moment for Eternal Milk, just being able to hold on this first point on Dorado.
Yeah, it looks good for Uwu Tang to actually push through that first choke. They got a couple of eliminations as well, but the fight is very much turned in Eternal's favour. Very good Valkyrie out of Hazard as well, who has been terrific on this Messi, so showing that she still has very big impact with positioning, game sense, and knowing when to res and when to ultimate in certain situations as well. But Eternal Milk now starting to look in control. Decron has the Graviton, which should confirm another engagement as it happens, but there's a high noon coming out of Matic.
Matic looking maybe to shatter a couple of barriers there more than anything as the offense just keeps on rolling forward. The Graviton Surge finally going in there, and they do manage to catch one or two with it, but not really getting too much value on the back of it. Deadeye even coming out from the defense, still not being turned into too much at the moment. That said, kills slowly coming to the blue on that kill feed as Okie Smokey getting a little bit caught out. That said, their re-engage is huge. The Graviton Surge is there, and Matic just starts lighting up that kill feed even more. Gets himself a juicy triple kill. Okie Smokey cleaning up the team, and they will complete here on the first point of Dorado.
Wasn't necessarily necessary for Okie Smokey to be using, so not the sort of best bit, but they do manage to confirm this point. This is ultimately why they used it. Shad is actually going to bring out a Riptire as well. Going to go onto the flank and try and find a pick, but it's a long way to go, and now Eternal Milk know where it's coming from, that it doesn't actually get anything other than a bit of damage into the Kron. So now the payload's still trucking along. Eternal
really
Milk
like
are going
this.
to be on the high ground. Going to be trying to hold and put a lot of pressure onto Uwu Tang. Now Shad switches over to Genji.
I really like this from Okie Smokey. I mean, using that grab I think is fine because he had all intentions just to swap onto that D.Va. Zarya not really going to be effective here on that second point. Matic again keeps finding these kills. It's not even with a Deadeye, he just keeps finding these targets. Just anyone who's poking their noses out is just going to get shot in the face, basically. Shard in a lot of trouble, does manage to get out though. His supports will pick him back up as he's going to get ready to rejoin this fight for a moment or two longer as Hazard brings out the Valkyrie, keeping his team nice and toasty for that little bit longer. But again, these kills just keep on happening. Rez though coming out of Hazard, and with the sound barrier there to cover him, does manage to get Royal back into this fight, so he will be involved once more. As now Dacron going to start trying to turn it around. Matic again just continues lining up this kill feed, but Strike's throwing out the Dragon Blade, got himself a double kill so far. He's looking for the triple, does to get the D-Mag on the D.Va, and the kill on the D.Va just fills the kill feed. He knows he's in a really good position at the moment. He's even doing a little bit of offensive crouching, so to speak. And there we go. Eternal Milk continuing that hold.
Stopped for the first time. Eternal Milk are just taking control of this area. Uwu Tang are in a difficult position to really attack this point. Do they go left? Do they go right? Do they try and go under or over? Looks like they're going to be maybe sort of going right, but Matic is on a one-man mission to try and control this objective. He needs to be careful he doesn't get picked off, but now the rest of the team is starting to push with him on the left. Not engaging on the high ground. They just want to keep this payload moving, try and get Eternal to come to them.
Matic, I think, is looking for some kind of Deadeye angle at the moment. It gets a beautiful shot onto Strike, has the Lucio in support of him as well, just to keep him alive as he's still looking for this angle. But all this time he's taking, it's not really benefiting his team. He's just sort of out of action at the moment. Strike scoops himself up a kill onto Shard at the moment, and Dacron even getting that D.Va bomb will just continue the hold here for Eternal Milk. They're looking better and better as they go from strength to strength. Things have fallen under their control, and it just looks like it's going to be staying that way for the time being.
Fashions where the payload's been stopped in a really perfect place on this defense. Not only would Uwu Tang need to win out a actual fight, but I'd say Eternal may have another engagement as well if it's a long scrappy fight like we're seeing. So Sly has the Tac Visor, so has a bit more of an option to deal with Uwu Tang as they come in. Uwu Tang don't really have necessarily much offensively to make this push work.
And Sly puts the pulls the trigger on the tactical visor, spotted that Matic was a little bit out in the open. Royal even got to go in and just clean up that kill for him, no problem. But Shard is there just to get a bit of a counterpunch going, and it looks like this might be just what they needed. They're looking for any targets they can find as they slow down this fight, wait for that ultimate to come through. But Strike drawing another one of these Dragon Blades. He's had so much luck with him, but does get booped away by Sage. He's having a hard time converting this one into a kill. Does manage to get himself one, but he was definitely looking for a little bit more there as Shard, his counterpart, doing the same thing on the opposite side, just continuing to get these kills to continue to get the damage out. Strike in a lot of trouble, but does actually kill the Winston. He was trying to dive on him so far. Okey with a beautiful kill into Hazard, though, will remove a lot of this healing, but the longer this fight goes, the better it goes for Eternal Milk. Reinforcement's going to be coming into place in 60 seconds left on the timer. This is going to be the moment that I think the Wu-Tang will back off wisely and just set up for that final engagement.
Having Hazard on the Mercy and Kayla on the Lucio, it means that you haven't got the aggressive supports of, say, a Zenyatta, a Moira, or an Ana, but it does allow to withstand a lot of things that are coming in. You have very big AoE heals coming out of Lucio, the single target healing of Mercy, and even when we see Wu-Tang pushing aggressively, both these supports are able to keep people up, and this is why this fight is looking so good for them, because Matic's diving in, as you just saw, the tank's coming through, and basically both the Mercy and Lucio can look after people amongst themselves, and also have big AoE ultimates that they can use when stuff doesn't look good.
And this is looking so good at the moment for Eternal Milk. Sound barrier even being used just to make sure that they're nice and safe as they continue to turn this into kill after kill after kill. There's just nobody left on the point, but there's only 5 seconds left. They've got to try and get a touch, and the people who can touch are a little bit out of position. Diva Bomb even getting launched just to cover the point a little bit longer as Sage does go down. Has to be very, very careful. Strike pulling on another one of these Dragon Blades, gets rid of the Diva, gets rid of no one as Matic does go down to Royal, and that is going to be where that payload is parked. Eternal Milk now have the bar set for them. They know where they need to hold to. Let's see if they can do it.
It's one of those situations where Eternal Milk are going to be feeling really good. It's the sort of perfect position, much like King's Row, where it can be stuck. On the attack, if you can maintain that momentum, you can push on through, but for defending side, if you actually get control of the point like we saw Eternal Milk there, your spawns are much closer than they are for Wu-Tang. So they're in a position where they've set themselves up nicely to try and reverse sweep this. Wu-Tang need to think of a way to try and full hold this first point. Maybe in the second area as well, but to confirm that they can take this fight easily, they want to try and hold on this first area, so that might require some different strategies to come out. Who knows? Wu-Tang, both teams giving them all they've got and trying to work out how to best the other one in this very close matchup.
I mean, the bright side is this, that they managed to get the payload almost to the end of second point. They didn't get stuck under the bridge, for example, where it's sort of easier for the enemy team just to try and park the bus underneath there and just try and get it into that position. They managed to get past the choke point, and that is a little bit easier to try and hold. So they do have some options to try and play for second, but second is going to be a little bit tricky for these guys. I'm glad to see that they're not going to run the Bastion for defense this time. Luckily, they have a bit more breathing room, so they don't have to be quite so desperate. But it's going to be difficult for these guys to do so. Like we said before, this is a long tournament. They've been playing all day. A lot of people are very hungry, myself included, just waiting for a nibble. But otherwise, yeah, this is where it sort of really matters. And hopefully Wu-Tang aren't sort of getting too inside their own heads. This is Dorado, but they are a very solid team. They've been playing well all tournament long, and they need to keep that performance going. And if they can do that, there's definitely still an opening for them to be able to take this. Otherwise, I think Eternal Milk have slight advantage, and let's see if they can do it.
You're going to be running the Widowmaker on attack. Sly hasn't really shown the same amount of impact than Matic has on Widowmaker, certainly on this map as well. We saw Matic getting the first pick almost instantly. We are going to be seeing Wu-Tang playing very defensively and sort of sitting back a little bit.
Oh, the boot!
Matic is exchanging fire a little bit. And now Wu-Tang has started to push back a little bit, but Eternal being very aggressive on this push here. Sly is maybe going to try and take on a flank here, but Chad is kind of expecting it by just kind of holding back on that back left corner.
Oh, Matic has to be a little bit careful. He is sort of poking around that sideline, looking for an angle to try and get some damage onto the Farah, but almost gets dived on as a result. Does manage to peel safely back towards his team. Sly being a little bit quiet so far on that Widowmaker, and especially as you start getting into this position, it does get a little bit harder. Last time Sly went all the way around, went for that rear side flank. It looks like this time he's opting not to, as the Farah continues just to hammer out that damage. Matic doing what he can to just try and keep Strike under control so far. Actually, Strike going a little bit high in the sky, has to be very, very careful he doesn't get too focused down here, as the DPS is there for him, but does have Barrage available too, as the payload has slowed down though. Kills now starting to come in for the Wu-Tang, and that might put an end to this one. Res comes out for Dacron, but it's not going to be enough here as Matic starts going in and hammering home that, hey, yep, this one is
really
ours.
Getting the picks or the pressure onto Wu-Tang, who are playing a very high line in this sort of choke area. This is, again, a perfect position for a payload to get stuck on your defense. You have full control of it, you fight in a choke, and this very much works in favour with the lineup that Wu-Tang are running, especially with a Zarya. Then Eternal are trying to run this dive with a Farah and Widowmaker.
Oh.
Slice especially is finding it very difficult to
Charlie's
find
just playing.
is maybe trying to go on the flank.
Shard is playing so defensively at the moment. He's just staying on that back line at the moment. But Strike comes in with a huge barrage, gets himself a double kill. Despite the attack visor being used by Matic, he just barrages straight through it, takes him down, and deletes him. I was about to say that, oh, Slice had a really hard time because, hey, Shard's been waiting for him on the flank. But it doesn't matter because Strike just bowls everyone down.
Decide what's going to be.
And now with the infra sight, they know that they can keep this pressure going. They know that they're going to be stuck on the low ground. And if they can convert this to a couple more kills, then they're definitely going to have all the momentum they want for pushing this one towards the end. If they can take control on this part of the map, it's so hard to get back to that high ground. If you get that payload far enough, it will really, really be difficult. Playing into that Widowmaker Pharah is going to be so hard to break your way out of those
start
doors.
Pushing through and trying to work out how to break this offense that's coming out of Eternal. They have 4 minutes to push it an extra sort of 60 meters at this point as well. Now the combination of Strike and Sly works a little bit better. Strike is able to put in a good amount of damage. Sly's just able to maybe body shot or headshot people. They're getting very low. But Matic now tries to jump in. He's taken out by Strike as he tries to dive in from the high ground. So Uatang again are looking staggered in this fight. And it means that there's going to be one solid engagement that they can manage. But Eternal making sure that that can't even happen.
No! That was such a crucial kill as well. Royal manages to get onto Oki, uses the primal race to get out as the kill feed just continues to roll over for Eternal Milk. It's all going wrong for Wu-Tang at the moment. Beautiful kill from Matic, but it might not be enough as they just lose all advantage at the moment. Dacron puts down the Diva Bomb, clears a little bit of space, but they have so many opportunities here. Dragonblade comes out from the defense at the moment. Shard looking for something. Grav goes onto the point, but there's just nobody there. Oki just fires it out in desperation, so no one is actually caught in it. Barrage gets used on the point, clears off the Winston, and this could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Eternal Milk could have just done it. They have done the run back. They have made it up, and they have taken the tournament. Eternal Milk proven themselves on Dorado. Very well played by these guys.
Finished out by a rocket barrage from a Pharah as well. It's going to be Strike that gets play of the game, and I think Strike honestly would be my MVP for this tournament, being able to flex onto so many different DPS characters, the Junkrat, the Genji, and the Pharah right at the end to show how you can play these heroes. But amazing work from both teams. It was very close.